How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Art Still.
And Volcel, and we're here late today because the both of us lost track of time completely to bring you the latest news and games commentary for the week.
Oh no, see, it's just Fern said he'd be late today, so we were just giving him time.
I'm sure. If that's what we're going with, then I'm behind it. But I don't know when he is showing up or if he is showing up. I mean, he sort of suggested that he would, but he's been waylaid multiple times this week with multiple different changes of plans based on the messages I got from him. So who even knows what still stands at this point? So if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the archive on YouTube.
This week we have neither of us have done the new Wuwa main story yet. Now, pretty late in the week. Um,
And there are only so many hours in the day.
we haven't. Neither of us have gotten to that. Trails came out and ate what would have been the Wuwa time, but even then, I barely had time to punch into Trails because work was later half of this week. We both did do the Genshin new Archon quest during the week. So I don't think Vault did it like last night.
Well, you could call it last night, or you could call it this morning, because I went to bed at 4.
Yeah, so we can talk a bit about that. Um, that's gotcha. Got some Yakuza to talk about. I'm gonna try and hold off till Fern gets here because he's Yakuza 7. I finished it. Go over it and how it compares to where they were going with Judgment. Some of the interesting things that happen when you do a total genre shift. So that and what else? So yeah. First, Fall, your week.
My week has been rough. It's been a rough week at work, and it's mainly due to, as usual, staffing issues because management don't seem to take staffing issues as an they don't take staffing issues as an issue on its own, basically, which is a silly and irrational way of doing business. But basically, they consider manpower to be akin to a consumable. So if you have X amount of work, then you only need X amount of manpower. And if the work goes down, the manpower goes down. Right? No. That's not how it works in the real world. You need a certain amount of people required for a business to exist. They're not just a function of the money that you're making. So,
Each person in the business is going to have different things they're good at and have given more responsibility over. They have aptitude for it.
so yeah, we're running on luck and goodwill at this point, as far as I'm concerned, and both of those things are going to run out before too long. Um, but as a result, it's been a busy week for me. I like that's why I only got to Genshin at the very very end of the week. That's because I was just too tired, didn't have the time to engage in a big project like an Archon quest. Um, End of the previous week though, I did. I can't teleport there. Why can't I teleport there? Normally you can teleport to these, but maybe I
Oh,
can't
because
because
I'm
you're like,
unlock. No, because I'm unlocking the one I'm at. You're coming to mine.
oh,
I'm currently doing the puzzle.
oh, I see. Is there a throw me around somewhere that I can use to get to where you are? Doesn't look like it. Um, anyway, end of the previous week, I did the new event for Blue Archive. So this was the inaugural event introducing Wild Hunt Academy. So it was very oddly inconsequential, I guess. Normally, the inaugural event for a new academy is a bit more intense than this, but this was retarded. It was retarded in a good way. Like it had kind of a little bit like whatchamacallit, it had a little bit of Make-Up Work Club vibes to it. The the members of their sort of informal occult research society are characters. Oof.
Can you
Stop
see
bullying me.
me?
Why are you bullying me?
Can you see me solving the
Why are you bullying
puzzle
me?
while you're doing this?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's lots of videos online of people getting beaten up by the puzzle solving method. But yeah, the Occult Research Society are kind of retarded in a good way, I guess you could say. They're special, very special. The push characters for this one are Eri and what's the other girl's name? Kanai, maybe, I can't remember. They are both interesting persons. Eri is one of those all of the nutrition that should have gone to her brain went to her boobs instead characters. She's not an airhead, she's just does dumb things for dumb reasons,
What did Hanako
I
eat
guess
then?
you could say. I don't know what Hanako ate. Hanako is the pink woman. So I made friends with the Void Storm, and I'm going to back out because I do not want to try and fight one of those with just Mornier. But yeah, basically it's just shenanigans. They've even got their own sort of like their own version of Koharu, who is the one who objects to everything that they do. Although not by trying to introduce the death penalty for lewdness. But yeah, it's a very inconsequential event. Like unlike some of the other introductory events where like important things happen to set the stage for things that will happen later, that's really not the case here. It's kind of a nothing event in a lot of ways. It's still silly and charming, and they do have some ties to other things, but this is very much just getting to know the academy type of thing, because there's a lot of talk about like what the ruling structure of Wild Hunt is, and how sort of like absurdly authoritarian it can be for an art academy where you wouldn't normally think that's the case. But yeah, it's all relatively low key. It's cute and it has a happy ending. Of course, it's like not not sort of like deep and dark and intense or anything like that. It's a very silly introduction, but it's the sort of silly that you're going to expect from Blue Archive for the most part. Um, there's not really much else to say about it because there's not really anything particularly special about it in story or mechanics. It's just sort of an introduction, really. The most popular sort of um, waifu character, I guess, only has a bit part in this one. So the one that people draw lots of art of and that you see people posting all the time. Um, so I presume that they've had a lot more story going forward, and they also introduce they would not introduce, but they have a reappearance of a character that from a previous story that perhaps you wouldn't normally expect to see. basically one of the 7 prisoners, but nobody appears to know that they're one of the 7 prisoners. So, yeah, that sort of is asking for some explanation, I guess. But at any rate, it was an okay little story, but like I said, it was weirdly inconsequential. Like I normally expect at least something a bit more impactful than that, but no, it was okay. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of an odd one in some senses, in that they would do Wild Hunt like this. Like everybody expected Wild Hunt to be a bit more of sort of a freewheeling place since it's the art academy, but I suppose that they've still got to explain why Maki went to Millennium and not Wild Hunt. Viewing Millennium as less restricted than Wild Hunt, and I guess that's really what's behind it, because nobody expected the art academy to be the most outrageously domineering academy. Like it's basically guards everywhere sort of thing. It's pretty much a prison in some ways. But okay, that one's been coming for a while. Finally got it out. But yeah, that's Blue Archive. Star Rail did nothing at all this week. Nothing surprising about that. We're in the doldrums of extended patch time, and it's going to continue that way for a while. They did a bunch of drip marketing, which has inspired a great deal of speculation, but not really produced much of anything. That's also what you expect. We got to see the new names that they're going to use for the characters that have been renamed from what people previously expected. So, yeah, Yasakura has been named Evanesia, which is, well, it's certainly less overtly Japanese, and there is also some word plays, I guess you could say, at work there.
Yep, wake me
Based
up
on
inside. Can't wake up.
no. The only reason that you think that is because you're a millennial. But no, it's nothing to do with that, because it's an actual word and it has an actual meaning, and so it does sort of relate to the aliases used by Yai Sakura in Honkai Impact 3rd as a member of Moth. So yeah, it's not without meaning. You are moving like lightning speed across the map. Did you fling yourself somewhere?
I grabbed a grapple point and have been flying around in a direction here. I was exploring this waterfall area and got launched.
Like when you're a co-op partner, you don't get smooth updates on ally positions, so it's just like your cursor's just sort of arbitrarily moving around the map.
I was exploring this little wall thing.
But yeah, there's really it's sort of like drip marketing par excellence, in the sense that you can't really get anything from it, other than sort of like vague impressions of what Blade and Silverwolf are going to look like in this context, and they revealed Ashvale. People have just assumed, not without basis, but have just assumed, it is still an assumption, that Ashvale is La Mancha. That is to say, the sort of the legendary head of the Galaxy Rangers, who I don't know. We don't really know a great deal about him. Sparkle offhandedly refers to him as a crippled wolf at one point, though we don't really know exactly why. And they also revealed new character Nihilux that nobody really knows anything about. The art suggests that she's a manga artist of some sort, which makes sense since the Planicardia setting is going to involve a lot of references to sort of like Japanese pop culture. Although it's definitely not Japanese, right? Because that would be bad. That wouldn't be That wouldn't be Chinese nationalist. So definitely we wouldn't ever We would never countenance such a thing, right? But yeah, from what people have shared from the closed beta, it's like, well, you can still see um, Tokyo Tower on the skyline. So they haven't tried that hard to disguise the locale. I mean, it's not actually Tokyo Tower, but it fits into the skyline in the same way Tokyo Tower does. But yeah, yeah. There's not really anything else to say on that count because there's no sort of like factual revelations per se. There's just been art pieces that people have had some good fun with. The fashion, of course, has been to redraw the sort of the same format, but with characters from other games. Like I've seen ones for like Rover and Uno, for instance, done in the same style. But yeah, that's about it on as far as that's concerned. ZZZ, I struggled my way to the end of the simulation thing just to get to check that box off. Um, couldn't get anything like a decent score, largely because my bringer team is so crippled. Like it's basically leans on Miyabi to carry the entire fight by herself, and that's basically all I can really do. Um, so my score in that one was terrible, and I hate the bringer fight as it is anyway because anything that requires performance points that are triggered in some ambiguous way instead of like what they've done more recently, because like recent fights where there are performance points, the norm seems to be, if you look at like Miasma Fiend and the newer two bosses and so on, like they just do the performance point thing once in the fight, right? You do this thing this one time at a relatively fixed point, it seems these days. That it will just happen, and then you do it, and if you flub it, restart the fight. If you don't flub it, carry on. Which I think is an unpleasantly gamey way of presenting the situation. However, it's better than the bringer method, which was that if bringer feels like it, and if you have crippled your ability to CC the enemy enough, then you will get the performance points. Like I didn't enjoy having to play around that. That was a huge pain in the neck, especially since it's weak to frost, meaning that you're going to want to use teams that can freeze, right? No, because if you do, then you're going to freeze him out of triggering his bonus points phase. So I'm glad they've left that one behind, but for the purposes of the game method in question, you still have to fight him because you basically end up fighting practically everybody. As a game mode, now that I'm at the end of it, I don't like it. I think it's a waste of time. Complete waste of time. My opinion is basically precisely the opposite of RCL's. It shouldn't be in the game. It's a waste of development resources. It differs in no ways to any other game mode. The opponents have zero difficulty to them. They're exactly the same as they are in every other context, if not a little bit weaker. It's like, why does this exist? I don't understand at all. It's just something that takes a huge amount of time to do. I mean, I'm not going to turn up my nose at more polychrome, but I would rather do something interesting to get it, not just the same boss fights over and over. Like I already have two game modes to do that in. So yeah, I don't understand the point of it. Maybe it's just an armature onto which they're going to build something interesting later, because at present it doesn't serve a purpose in my mind. It's just like it's a worse version of other things that already exist, except with a weird multi-choice thing attached to it for no clear reason. And like the writing is purposefully bad because it's supposed to resemble AI generated stories, which is kind of novel, but unfortunately that crap is invading the real world as it is, so I don't really need to see it in a game. Yeah, I don't. Maybe you can run your arguments in favor of it by me again, Aristeel, because I don't really understand why you were in such favor of it. Because I think it's a waste of my time.
My uh my thing at the time was that because my account is so wide that any kind of challenge presented by the judge, but it was because it's entirely on. It gives me the vibe of it's the entire point of it is pressure team building, try janky teams out, but um, because I have so many characters in that, that part didn't really affect me at all.
But the thing is that's sort of like that's the sort of thinking that leads to thinking Imaginarium theatre is a good idea. Like, it doesn't give you the opportunity to use janky teams. It forces you to use janky teams. Any situation where you want to provide an opportunity to use janky teams more or less has to look like it does in Star Rail in the recent combat event there, because you aren't like ridiculously constrained based on what your other teams are doing. That's the problem with this, is that on one hand you have no trouble with it because your account is built very, 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 very comically wide. On my side of things, my account is not so wide. I had to get Zhao and Ye Guang in order to even do it. And once I did, my teams were so constrained functionally that I couldn't try anything out. There was only one applicable format. And I think my account is probably probably still wider than the mean. Maybe not by much. But I think it's probably still wider than the mean, and for me, it was just an arduous pain in the backside. It ended up being a case of just prioritizing any team that wasn't like actually counter shelled by the stage. I would order it based on how difficult I found the boss personally relative to how much raw output power a given team had. So like, I would always put Yishan's team on the node that I found the hardest. I didn't care what the weaknesses were, because I know that I can make that team do what I need it to do to crush a boss that doesn't counter shell rupture. So that ended up being the thinking there. But what that just basically means is that a lot of the time you're ending up playing jank teams in jank contexts, which is not that satisfying. And the whole thing, just as a game mode, takes a long ass time to play. Like, I can understand the position of all of the other end game things that are currently in the game. Like, I understand why Deadly Assault exists. It's the boss mode, right? You refine your play against bosses. I understand why Sheer Defense exists. It's sort of like the general combat test. I understand why the Battle Tower exists. This is like where you absolutely try and refine your gameplay down to a razor's edge. But this mode doesn't fulfill any unique purpose of its own. It just requires you to have heaps of characters, which is the thinking that gives you Imaginarium theatre, and Imaginarium theatre is dog shit. So yeah, less of this, please. Is my opinion on this. Like, there is obviously room for a diversity of opinions, but I don't see what niche this fills that can't be filled by another one. Especially now that you need 3 teams for sheer defense. Like, you need a pretty wide account to do that as it is. There are a lot of people complaining that they hate it because they don't feel their account is wide enough to perform. Because the performance bar is actually pretty high. Like, you need to be... Like, it used to be sheer defense was relatively a walkover compared to Deadly Assault. Now they're roughly the same difficulty, I would say. With S plus being harder than Deadly Assault. But, yeah, that long form game mode, like, it needs to be seasoned with something else, I think, in order to be worthwhile. So yeah, that was probably the biggest chunk of time that I spent on ZZZ this week, was just grinding that out, and it really did feel like a grind. Like, several times I quit because I was like, I'm so sick of doing this. This is not fun. I'm just treading the same ground that I've tread 1,000 times, and then every time Miasmic Fiend comes out, I sort of want to throw my controller through the window because I hate that fight. Because that fight is so narrowly designed for user Alice Vivian that using anything else is silly. And I don't have Vivian, so I always have to use something silly. But yeah, and it's so obvious that they just made it resist fire so that you couldn't use Bernice. That's just punishing people for having narrowly built accounts. That's all. There's nothing else to it. freaking hate that fight, and I'm even more salty because they keep increasing the HP of me as McFiend on closed beta. Like every time they revise the beta, it goes up a little bit more, and that's because Arya's too powerful right now. And instead of making Arya weaker and falling in line with the power of the other characters, they're keeping her OP for now for some reason, and just keep raising the HP of her shill boss, which is going to make it impossible for me to clear at this rate. Thank goodness I don't need 9 stars, but it's going to be really disappointing if I have to break my streak of 9 stars, because I feel like I've been doing pretty well for somebody who can't play action games. I've been able to get 9 stars since they released the thing that tracks how many 9 stars you've got. And it's like, I wanted something to be proud of, okay? And they want to take that away from me by making my worst fight even harder. I'm rustled. Seriously rustled. Like its HP does not need to be 50% higher. That fight is hard enough as it is. I'm sorry. I hate it. It doesn't help either that it's got one of the jankier performance point mechanics, and that it happens really deep into the fight. So you have to refight the first like couple minutes of the fight to get to it each time, which annoys me. But yeah, not particularly sanguine about that. Really a bit concerned about the power level I'm seeing coming out for Arya particularly. It seems kind of off the chain. I hope they dial it back, because it's not every character coming out. Every character coming out from now on does not have to be as powerful as Yashin Guang. I'm sorry. That's a fairly silly way to design a game. I think that they would be better off if they don't do that. But yeah. Anyway, I don't think there was anything else in ZZC this week that I did. I haven't done this current cycle of Deadly Assault. I don't think Miasmic Fiend is in it. I hope it's not in it. I'd very much like not to have to fight that sodding thing again. I really don't like it. I think we're on the... There was something else that was going to come out in ZZZ quite big. I can't remember what it was. I thought that there was one other major event coming out. Oh yeah, there's the Angels of Delusion events coming out shortly. But yeah, still haven't finished the multiplayer event because I haven't collared Aristeel. I don't want to do it with randoms, so
Oh, right.
that's still sitting there.
I did
We're running out of time. We've got like 3 days left or something.
Did the last one. I haven't gone back and got all the collections.
Like that, in as much as there is multiplayer, for me it is not enough that there is multiplayer. It has to be multiplayer that I do with friends, because I don't want to play with randoms. Randoms are retarded. They do retarded things, and they say retarded things, and they think retarded things, and it's just retardation from dawn till dusk. I don't feel the need to engage with that. That's the reason that I don't let people randomly join my world and loot my stuff. So I don't want to deal with retards. No thank you. But yeah.
Probably
Weeds? What for?
Bina.
Oh, I already finished mine. I don't know how I managed to finish before you. Considering I haven't been playing. But don't forget to claim the free ones from the story.
Yeah,
and don't forget to claim the ones from the trial quest. And don't forget there's also a couple of chests that are on the route that you would normally do to pick flowers that have a big pile of them inside.
I found one of them.
But don't you do anything in multiplayer in Wuwa.
Off the table. Able to interact in co-op mode.
See, these are just all missed opportunities as far as I'm concerned. I don't. It's true that they ended up with they ended up deprecating the value of multiplayer simply because it was not popular on launch, largely because the game wasn't popular on launch for a whole host of reasons, largely due to the unbelievably dogshit optimization that meant that it didn't work for a lot of people. And that basically killed the multiplayer population to the extent that it didn't recover, so it's not generally viewed as a popular activity to do. I think that they could revive that with a couple of decent event pushes, but they just don't seem to have been that interested in doing so. Which is sad. Especially if you've got things like races and that. Like, I know that it's going to invariably be a little bit jank because of, latency and that sort of thing, but I'm sure you can come up with a method to adjust it. I mean, ZZZ seems to have done pretty well in finding sort of weird ways to trick you into thinking that the latency isn't as bad as all that, when it definitely is for me. Like, I'm playing, like, old school dial-up World of Warcraft here. Because the route to Hoyo's servers and Wuwa's servers as well from New Zealand is just deeply terrible. But yeah, anyway, so that just basically leaves Wuwa and Genshin. There's not really much to say for Wuwa. I haven't done much Wuwa playing during the week, because organic Wuwa playing for me is a product of having extra time, because it's usually the one that I will log on to and play without a specific objective. But I haven't had that sort of free time floating around. I, like everybody else in the world, in this past week, I did pull Mornier, and like everybody else in the world, I did target her first wave band as well, which, because I had already saved up Coral for, was basically no big deal. I got Mornier relatively quickly for me, which means to say that I only had to go to pity once, which is, for me, is a win. Like, that's a magnificent win. Only going to pity once, because my normal experience in gacha is that it's hard pity twice and then hard pity twice again for the weapon. So because I won the first time round, I went for a weapon as well. I was considering sticking with Discord since the performance difference between Discord and her signature is trivially low, like just really low. But since I won the 50-50, I was like, well, my judgment on how much resources I will lavish on a character is basically to do with how cute of a waifu they are, and that's pretty much the only metric I'll bother to consider. So yeah, she ended up getting her signature as well, even though it's like really unnecessary. Like, if you look at the calcs, it's kind of embarrassingly bad, but it does look very interesting and it suits her aesthetic. But that said, Discord actually fits her aesthetic pretty well as well, rather than just sort of like going to town on her sort of core motifs. Rather, it actually matches her little attendant drones. It sort of like fits in with them. So yeah, a lot of people have been quite happy with Discord as a result, because for once you can use a non-signature weapon and it doesn't make the character look incredibly dorky. This is sort of the opposite of what people are saying in Genshin CBT about Vaka, because Vaka dual wields claymores the way Skirk dual wields one-handed swords, and that is to say, she has one of her own that is a part of her animation set, plus she will use whatever is equipped to her, right? And Vaka is the same way, meaning that you can end up with some incredibly retarded looking combinations. So a lot of people are a bit ticked off about that. So they're classifying him in that sense as the next Arlecchino, in which the character looks like obviously silly all the time if they're not using their signature weapon. But yeah, So I haven't actually done anything. Like I slapped the best echoes that I had available on Mornier. I spent a little bit of time building them out so they're not completely retarded. They will at least have a decent secondary on them, but I haven't done much to optimize it. But that said, being like a sort of like a hard baseline support character, you pretty much just need to meet the minimum requirement for her energy recharge, and everything after that is gravy. Like it's not going to amount to very much in the end. Just get that energy recharge going and you'll be fine. Everything else is like, eh. Of course, I haven't been able to build up her skills very much since farming up skill materials in Wuwa is, well, arduous to say the least.
Yeah,
It takes a long time.
Serathos was like, "Oh, why haven't you built Booling yet?" I'm like, "There is a limited number of resources." And like, "Oh yeah, boss drops are online. Not even the weekly boss drops. Like shell credits, character exp, all that crap." There's a Void Storm.
I haven't done my Void Storms either. They're still sitting around there. I still kind of have to bring my A game to do them since my main DPS is a support. Because a lot of them involve many many enemies at the start. Carlotta's not a great fit for them. So they tend to scatter all over the place. That's the thing. That's the really tough thing about Laharoi mob fights is that they've got a lot of flying mobs that will just wander off into Narnia while you're fighting them.
Yeah, or the invisible panthers that always seem to get out of whatever you're doing.
Oh, that's not a problem for me because Chisa draws a bright red line between her and everybody in the area when she does her burst combo. So if I can't find the panther, I just hit the burst button and it will draw a line pointing out where it is. And the panther will just be sort of standing there embarrassed because it's being lit up red. But no, it's the flying robots for me that will fly like way out of the quest area and then lose track of the fact that they're fighting you and just sort of sit there looking confused. This has happened to me a few times now. It's quite frustrating. But yeah. Um haven't really done much else in Wuwa. Haven't had time to do the story. I've seen extremely mixed reviews about it. Most people don't seem to think it's peak. Like I'm seeing like, 7.5 out of 10s being tossed around, but I'm also seeing like 2s tossed around. But this is all on social media, so it depends on how toxic the people you're dealing with are. Like if it's very like master love and it tends to be in Wuwa, like most of the stories are written with the assumption you're playing male Rover and that the lady of the hour is sweet on Rover. A lot of people, I hesitate to call them people, get very offended by this because they assume that every character is a lesbian. So yeah. Um, but yeah, so it's sort of hard to say based on opinions how good the story is. But most people, what I haven't seen is a huge amount of outrage about it. So there's probably not anything in the story that is ultra divisive. Because normally, if there's something that people don't like, you will not stop hearing the end of it. People will go miles out of their way to spoil you on it. So yeah, Snape doesn't kill Dumbledore presumably, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll get time to play it tonight. We'll see how things go.
Can't do this one.
I didn't realize you're actually going over to do it right now.
I'm fleeing.
I will. I've actually already done this one solo.
The level 121.
Well, it's got a check mark on my map, so I must have done it.
We did.
I must have had good compatibility with whatever it was. For me, enemies in this game, there are definitely enemies I'm good at, enemies that I'm bad at. Let's see. don't know if I can heal fast enough. Mornier's healing output might not be good enough for this.
Oh, whoops.
Oh my. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Oh no! Level 120 high Vaishar. The boss beat the crap out of me. I only won because Shorekeeper revived my character that died. Freaking nightmare. High Vaishar is a much cooler enemy design than most of the bosses, though, that are in like 2.x and earlier. No, my Mornier does not heal fast enough for this. It's too much incoming damage from the Void Storm. I'm going to have to come back with Chisa, I think.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Chia Pet. Oh, maybe we're gonna get one ult off. Did I miss? I missed.
Oh, this is not good. Oh no. Oh no. Hang in there, bro. Oh my.
Counting on Chia to kill it.
The Syntony field actually ran out.
We got it. It's
I'm gonna assume you hit.
yeah, I was going solo on it for a real long time while you were talking. Then that thing came out. I was like, nope, 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 nope. Can't fight that.
That one is by far the nastiest that I've fought so far. I haven't done all of the Void Storms, but that one was the most vicious. That was the one that actually straight up killed my character, and I had to revive them. It's I think Mornier has the same ability. I think Verena does as well, but the one of the top tier abilities for each of the like proper full supports is that they can sacrifice a big chunk of their health bar if they have it available to prevent instant death for a character.
I see.
I think Mornier has it. Let's check here.
I was getting a ginormo shield from when Chia died in her.
Yeah, I don't know where that shield came from because I got it as well. Da, 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 da. Not really sure, but Mornier does have a bunch of prevent death mechanics. That is to say, you can get a buff once every 5 minutes. You can get a 60-second long buff that prevents you from taking a single hit bigger than 30% of max HP up to 3 times, and you can mitigate a fatal blow once, and that will remove your buffs. So you will lose the ability to soak the 30% one. But when you lose that buff, you gain 150% of Mornier's defense in HP back, which, believe me, is not very much in this case, because my Mornier only has 3400 defense. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, don't have much else to speak of as far as the Wuwas is concerned. So it's down to Genshin. How do you want to handle that though? Do you want to just talk about Genshin
Yeah.
now, so you
Yeah.
can move on to your other games?
Yeah. Just I think.
So starting from the pulls, Fern is not here to brag, but he got Columbina, and I also got Columbina, and I didn't lose the 50-50, and I didn't lose the 75-25. So all together, great success, which is exactly what I needed, because Columbina's like, I need Columbina so that I can use a Ningguang Pro Max team, and Ningguang Pro Max is on the second half of the patch, so that's what I'm really focused on. So big win there. Haven't made much progress on her development, largely because I don't have any decent relics to put on her. Haven't really decided what relics to use. The calcs aren't out for what Zubai wants her to wear. Probably Zubai will use the black set from the new one, the black Luna set, the on-field offensive one. That's what I would guess at a glance, because it's the only offensive Luna set. But there are 2 supportive Luna sets, and the math varies a lot on which one any given supporter should use. Depends on the composition of your team. Like for Luna Bloom, currently consensus is leaning in favor of the older one, and I think is that correct? I think, yeah. And an electro charged one, Luna charged one, seems to be leaning slightly in favor of the other one, but it apparently depends whether you have a Nefer for Flins, or whether you just have a Nefer, or whether you just have Flins, or what, where you put them. You're just gonna leave this chest sitting here right next to the Solaskin guy, are you? It's just been sitting here, waiting for you to pick it up. It's not a valuable chest, but it's right next to the Solaskin guy, so I was like, why is it still here? But yeah, so I haven't really used my Columbina much for anything. That will probably depend on me getting. Probably, I'm sort of like leaning in favor of, okay, so we'll start off with farming the new set, because the worst case scenario for the new set, I can probably use it on somebody else. Like, let's say I could use it on Ino if I don't want to use Ino with Nefer, or if I put Nahida back in Nefer's team, in which case Ino would be better served by that one. They generously made the new domain also drop Instructor, which is basically ideal. That's what everybody wants. Also, the other set, the Hexarray set from that same domain, is apparently, based on the early calcs, I haven't looked to see if anybody's updated them, is apparently Klee's Biss now. And I had just finished re-gearing Klee with Lava Walker before they released the stats on it. So I guess I'm going to scrap all my Lava Walker, which is glutting up my inventory, in favor of the new set. But oh well, it is what it is. This is the way it goes. At least I'm not Ziox, who spent 5 years trying to gear his Xiao and was never successful. But yeah, so that the pulling side of things went good for me. I am happy with that since I have earmarked all of my remaining resources for Tsubai. How many constellations Tsubai gets is going to depend on, number one, how successful the pulling for her is going to be, and number two, are her constellations naff or not? Because usually I will only consider constellations if there's something really, really attractive on there within the first two. I don't look at anything after two. I think looking at constellations after two in a Ho-Yo game is retarded. But it's like either you are committed to the Leviathan move and are going to get C6, or C2 is the last constellation that exists in a Ho-Yo game. This is the way I see it. In Wuwa, I'm way more willing to look at the other ones because all of them have value of different sorts. Usually, the fourth one is comically shite, but not always. And the value of the other ones sort of varies erratically. So, yeah, I'm much more willing to entertain those. But in the case of Ho-Yo games, it's like either the C1 and C2 are a total banger, or you don't even think about constellations at all. Nothing else matters. So yeah, that's that. I haven't done very much exploration of the new region, except for one quest that I did by accident because I got sort of sidetracked one evening when I was really tired and was just wandering about because I was about to go to bed and then ended up not going to bed because I got sidetracked, which was it seemed to be a story about the wolf that lives in Mondstadt, or at least the previous owner of the wolf that lives in Mondstadt. The big one.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Chris or
Um,
something.
yeah, it seemed to be about him. Apparently, that there was like some. I don't even know who it was. It was a woman. Was it an angel? I'm not really sure. In a castle in the sky sort of thing. And the only being that kept her company was the wolf, and then eventually the wolf decides to go and travel to the to Mondstadt to help found civilization there or something. I don't really know. It was very strange. It was strange. The sort of the a lot of the reason why Genshin lore is not very well known is because it's presented in an outrageously esoteric way a lot of the time. Like something like very foundational knowledge might be embedded in a totally random place. But yeah. Speaking of lacking foundational knowledge, I have not done any of the petrichor quests at all, and I have no idea how much of that is needed to understand anything in the Archon quest as a result, because they mention it quite a few times. Are you able to shed any light on this?
So a lot of the crap that Sandron's talked about is referencing stuff that happened in that quest. But if you can just take her as at face value of your friend is just referencing some smart people in her past, can still understand what's going on, or people that were the scientist experimenty types, like that'll get you close enough. So that you can tell what she means when she's going through with the main story. You just have to keep in the back of your head chronologically your character has a intimate familiarity with all these characters or something like them anyway.
Right.
It has been long enough that the specifics of it have left my brain, but yeah, if you haven't done
I
it, you're
I
not going to have a clue
recognized
who these names are.
some of the documents that Polonia goes through, like word for word, are duplications of documents that I've read in Fontaine, with the tiny amount of Fontaine exploration that I've done. I recognized some of them explicitly because I've got a reasonably good memory for documents generally, and so I was able to recognize, oh, I remember this, I know how this goes, I know all these characters. But anything that mentions Petrichor, like Petrichor hadn't been written into the plot at the time that the exploration stuff I have done in Fontaine was put into the game, so I didn't recognize anything referring to Petrichor at all. Like the whole position of Remuria in the lore is completely obfuscated to me. Like I don't even know whether it's like dates from before or after Canria, like
Yeah,
whether it was like contemporaneous or anything like that. Like I don't know any of that stuff.
yeah. Petrichor. I'm trying to be vague about it and not giving a very good good word use here on it, but it is a story worth seeing. Better ones than get right at peak. But basically, this is a spoiler for that they already spoiled in the main story. Um, the big thing about Petrichor is they figured out how to separate the soul, shove it in something, made that a core foundational part of what's going on there, and that it had consequences.
Right, I see, I see. So is it so it's sort of like fantasy cyberpunky type of thing, or
Uh, yeah,
it's like the classic cyberpunk theme is that if you put a person into a robot body, do they go completely apeshit or not?
yeah. You're in the ballpark. Just add more rocks and music.
Anyway, straying out of spoiler territory. Um, yeah, so I don't think that I've really touched much else of Genshin's functions other than the Archon quest itself. This was one of those Archon quests that it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the region that gets released alongside it. That was really kind of weird. Like if they had not released the new region, I don't think it would have changed anything.
Yeah,
Because the only time you go there is to visit Dottoro's lab, and that entire thing is instanced. So yeah, it was sort of like, and there's been a lot of people confused about the release cadence of new regions in the lunar visions, because it just seems like a lot of the time they aren't giving us anything to do, and when they do, it doesn't seem to have much to do with the story. So yeah, it was this story seemed to take place almost entirely in an instanced version of the world, which I don't have any problem with. I think it gives them much more power to tell the story the way they want, rather than having to constantly work around people sequence breaking by glitching terrain, that sort of thing. Um, that I'm fine with that, but it does not involve the new areas in any way. But you know, a lot of the time that's the case. Like some of the best storytelling in Natland was just the world quests, though that was largely because the the Archon quest fell off so precipitously in Natland.
yeah.
Which I'm sort of worried now that if we have arrived with a capital A as far as the story is concerned and not cry, and that's all downhill from here. But
Yeah, well, at least for a finale this time, I could tell what the heck was going on.
yeah, so this Archon quest overall, I enjoyed it very much. I felt like it was a very good conclusion to the story that they were telling at the time. Um, I have a few sort of very key problems with it. They are key problems that I think are actually, they are signs of questionable writing. However, overall, they didn't really impact how I felt about it after the fact. Like, I still felt like I had a good time and I enjoyed the story afterwards, even though I think that there are writing problems in there. There are things that I really don't like. Um, but overall, I enjoyed it. I liked the way it was told. Um, I don't like this is our chance to do spoilery stuff before Fern shows up, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want to do any markers or anything on the video,
Okay.
but
Uh, Moderate to major spoilers as long as the show icon is big.
yeah, if Fern shows up, we just have to hit the abort button. But anyway, yeah. So this story is basically to cover, the reaction to Columbina's disappearance, and I think that the story does benefit a lot from the way that they labor the sort of the reaction process. That it manages to sort of humanize the characters a lot more rather than them just sort of robotically going on to continue their role in the narrative. And the fact that everybody just sort of loses their shit and runs around with their hair on fire for a bit.
Or Paimon.
And, yeah, Paimon basically implodes. Like, Paimon has become ridiculously codependent on the Traveler at this point, to where she can almost not function for a while after the Traveler disappears due to being captured by a very ill-advised charging off into the unknown, which basically Sandrone and Arlecchino basically decide immediately to raid Dottore's lab. As soon as they find out that's where he is, they just charge off, and it goes poorly. But I felt like that actually kind of worked, because nobody is thinking rationally after Columbina's disappearance. Like, everybody is freaking out. They're like, this isn't the way it's supposed to go. We just won the big fight, and we just had our tearful farewell, and all of a sudden everything has gone completely pear-shaped. So I felt like that worked quite well. I was a little bit confused at what actually happened to Arlecchinos. Like, she just sort of doesn't ever really arrive at the lab, I guess, or she arrives and then immediately disappears or whatever, and then she just shows up again later, and I'm really confused about what was going on.
Maybe the reason there are no goons is there's a wave of goons. I don't know.
I mean, that's what Dottore claimed as well, is that Arlecchino showed up and then disappeared
Yeah.
and never even made it inside. But Arlecchino doesn't seem to offer very much in the way of explanation. So, yeah. And Sandrone shows up and has to run off again because Dottore is being Dottore. But yeah, it's you get your sort of initial taste of fighting him, and they give him a bajillion and a half hit points, and
Most
you squabble for a
importantly,
while. And
for a brief few minutes in this, on and off throughout this Archon quest, Hydro Traveler is good again. For a good period.
yeah, because cool, your Jet Stucky is with you.
Because you get the ducky.
Soon as the Traveler learns to put down the ducky, all of a sudden the Hydro Traveler can play the saxophone. Who'd have thunk it? But yeah, I mean, Hydro Traveler is there as a means of enabling other Lunar characters to function when they give you guest characters. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
There was no other reason for Hydro Traveler to be there.
we don't want
So
to.
you are there to put down the ducky. You escort the ducky into the building, and then you put down the ducky.
We do not want to send the literal child into what is basically an assassination mission or capture and interrogate mission. So we'll have the kid give the traveler the ducky, so that there's some hydro.
So that the saxophone might be played. But yeah, so that then sort of causes the plot to splinter into multiple different branches. So everybody's now got stuff to do once they finish panicking, and then they proceed to tell this sort of ensemble plot where you're flipping periodically between the points of view of the various teams of your allies who are attempting to mediate evacuation, mediate understanding what's happened to Columbine, mediate tracking down the Traveler, plus the Traveler's point of view, plus Columbina's point of view. You get to see a lot of different points of view in the story, and they managed to keep the pacing about right, which is the easiest thing to cock up in this particular method of storytelling is that when you stick long enough with one character to forget what another character is doing, or you don't give people enough information at a time at what one character is doing to keep people interested. I feel like they got the balance relatively good
Uh,
this time round
uh,
because I was always curious as to what was going on, and I wasn't bored with what was going on screen at that time.
I liked the bits with Dottore doing his Charmony Dove bit because it gave me time to process what just happened beforehand. Because he's just rattling on about his version of the Charmony Dove, but
Yeah, he's like he does like to tell us the story about the allegory of the Charmony Cave,
like I don't
and a
remember a
very
dang word he said. In actuality, it
well.
was all just Charmony Dove nonsense.
I had been drinking, it's true. However, it was literally the story about the allegory of the Charmony Cave. Like, it was a fusion of Sunday's discourse on the Charmony Dove and Xandar's discourse on the allegory of the cave glued together with a side order of megalomania. Like, it was literally the story about the allegory of the Charmony Cave.
Yeah, like I
But the thing is, well, this will lead into one of the problems I have with the plot, which I'll go into later though. But yeah, he does like to carry on. He definitely likes the sound of his own voice.
he's gonna tell you about that Charmony pigeon, and you're gonna hear about it.
So yeah, they do end up being kind of wind down segments in some ways, because he's just going to rattle on. But yeah, so it's all woven together quite well. There's no there are no points that like I said I'd been drinking heavily because I tend to drink a variety of different things while I am processing these stories. Um, but overall, I felt like they managed to keep the balls in the air moving. They managed to do the juggling act without hitting themselves in the head, and it all stitches together quite nicely when all's said and done. Maybe there are like autistic lorehounds who could point out a million plot holes in it. And I'm not saying that there are no plot holes. There are a few things I don't understand. They're probably just things that I don't remember or missed. But generally speaking, I felt like they stitched it all up together quite nicely. Um, a surprising number of people online were, and I didn't have context until I finished the story, what they were so upset about, but they are very upset that the power of friendship won the day. And I'm sort of like, what game have you been playing exactly? Like, Genshin is a game for children. Fundamentally, it's going to be a story for children. They're not going to try and tackle anything complex, and then, generally speaking, these stories are quite optimistic that Hoyo tells.
You're also in anime trope land. Like, what is the easily in the top 3 of anime tropes? Probably right underneath bumping into your soon to be boyfriend with toast in your mouth. Power of friendship.
Yeah, so they power friendship all the way to victory, not without cost. Although, you know, I'm I'm fairly sure that the major loss that was incurred will be undone. That's the vibe I get off of it anyway. That it will be, at least in some respect, will be undone. Like there will either be more to it or it will be straight up undone.
Yeah, this is one of those things where if you come to it late, this and like in the future she's already been revealed as a playable character. Um, your the impact here is totally gone,
Yeah.
and it's only muted for us right now because well we don't expect anybody to stay dead. But they have stuck to their guns on a few other characters. They did kill what's
I feel like they dropped a few too many hints. Like I think that if if they wanted it to stay the way it is, we would have seen a funeral scene. I feel like that's the way it would have been. There would have been some kind of honoring the dead taking place, as opposed to, oh, retrieve her, return her to the institute. Hey, the way she's always operated in the past is that she always has a backup plan.
yeah. I don't think this is the end for it either. In our age of and number of stories we've experienced, in addition to the way they set her up, I don't think she's gonna stay dead. So that mutes the impact a little bit. But for the moment, at least, we don't have an explicit, you know, coming soon.
But I mean, from the point of view of the characters did experience a loss, and it does add a lot of gravity. And you know, the at this point, we're really solidly in least convincing Cinderella of all time territory. She is the only one who thinks she is fooling anybody.
Well, the Columbina bits I mentioned during the carnival, I felt like that took too long. The part that I just wanted to see more of was watching Sandrone get bodied by the shark tooth machine.
In the real world, isn't that game like an alligator or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. At any rate, I felt like it all came together quite well, quite nicely. Everybody has their friendship power time at the end because reasons, etc. And we get to see a lot more of Nicole in various places, who's my favourite member of the Hexen Circle. Pity about her kit. I hope the rumours turn out to be untrue because I still want to pull for her. But yeah, I liked the whole thing in terms of the way everything comes together and the way the story that they tell. Like it's on brand for sure. You're not going to get outrageously surprised by anything, but I don't always read a story to be surprised. Sometimes I want to see heroism win the day. In fact, I personally nearly always want to see heroism win the day. Like if it's a fantasy story, I want to see the heroes conquer. That's my personal taste. If there's a romance, I want to see it end in a wedding. I don't want to see it end in will they, won't they. Like this is just the way that I approach stories.
Still,
But
still looking for the anime series that does that. Just like you have enough fingers on one hand to count the ones that do.
but they should. That's my opinion. They should. It should end in a wedding. But and it shouldn't end in a wedding the way Ora Emo did. Um
Nothing
but
should end on a wedding like that.
yeah. So getting into the things that I didn't like. Um there's only a couple that stuck out to me that I didn't like. And the lesser one is that I felt like basically everything involving Reria and Thelindis was kind of a clunker. It's like, yeah, I get what they're doing, but I feel like you just tossed something in the trash instead of making it meaningful. Like you literally put him in timeout for a bit to think about what he's done. And that just worked. Just categorically. And that seems a little bit, I don't know, simplistic to me. Like, I'm a big believer that children should be spanked when they do something wrong. I'm not a believer in timeout
Well,
because timeout never really did anything for me.
timeout came after the spanking. I mean, we did punch him up
I
pretty
mean,
good.
that wasn't like when I was a child. If you got a proper spanking, you didn't need to be told you're in timeout. You couldn't move.
All right.
So
I meant Rearer's timeout came after we spanked him.
no, we didn't though. That's the thing. We never beat Rear in combat.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific fight. I remember.
No, we didn't fight Rear at all. That didn't take place.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
tricked him in. We tricked him into whizzing into the gate that Columbina opens. Like we
Yeah.
never fought him at all. He never got his comeuppance. All he did was go to timeout, and then decide that he was wrong after all, after sitting in timeout for a while.
Should have made him pick his own switch.
I wonder if anybody in Gen Z or Gen Alpha has ever had to pick their own switch.
Pick the wrong one, you get hit with that one, and then go told to get another one.
Yeah, so I didn't feel that that was handled very well. But and to some extent, I'm not really fully convinced that Rurio's gone from the plot either. Like, he seems a little bit too intact, and we don't know what level of control the fully matured Columbina has over that inverse side of the moon type of area. Like, it was something that's created by Nebulung for sure, but Nebulung is allegedly dead now, and the person with the most power who is related to that zone is Columbina, and she's got basically all of the cards at this point, more or lessly.
Maybe, maybe she'll need a secretary.
So I don't know, especially because they have Reria just like, oh, I turned over a leaf so hard that I'm basically a good guy now type of thing. Like, it was just a little bit, possibly because none of that resolution happens on screen. It sort of feels a bit weird that you just like you're cruising through the abyss and you suddenly meet good guy Riri and it's like, yeah, I thought about what I've done and I was a bad person. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the other thing with Genshin's overall lore that always drives me a little nuts with how unclear it is. They played coy with the Abyss so hard for so long that they seem to imply it was the Abyss messing with his mind and where there's a lesser influence out here in this moon pocket. Uh, it lets him have a more clarity of thought, but they play too coy with the specifics of the mechanics of the Abyss. We don't really have a good frame of reference for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to quantify everything in Honkai terms because I've given up trying to do it on Genshin Zone terms. So, like, I'm inclined to think that the Abyss functions like the Honkai, and the Void functions like Quanta, and the light powers that they keep talking about function like Imaginary, more or less. But it's sort of hard to say. But yeah, it is a kind of a little bit jank, and I did feel like that was like a confusing little clunker there. Was like he became a good guy while you weren't watching, and he's like super apologetic now, and he understands what he did was wrong, etc., etc. But the way he arrives here is just by sitting down and having a good thunk.
Deprived of his Abyss juice makes him like he went to the AA meeting in the moon pocket.
So either you are, if by that means either you are going to end up absolving him of what he's done, or it just doesn't make sense that he understands what he's done and is now apologetic. Like, if it was the Abyss that did it, then he's not guilty, and then this punishment is unjust. But if it wasn't the Abyss that did it, then how has he suddenly come to this resolution? So yeah, it's a bit of weird scenario. Anyway, the second thing that really bothers me about it is I think Dottore is an absolutely dogshit villain. And the main reason for this is that he doesn't want anything. Like, if you can, like, the closest comparison available basically is Xandar 1 Kurabara, because they both have similar levels of power in context, in that, like, Xandar was basically capable of doing anything on Amphorius that he wanted, within reason. And Dottore is capable of basically doing anything that he wants within reason. But Xandar, despite the fact that he loves his soliloquy something vicious, he actually has a goal. He actually has something very specific that he wants to achieve, and he's spending all of his time laying down plans in order to bring it about. Similarly, if you want to bring him into it, Sunday is also operating similarly. Generally speaking, all of the villains in Honkai 3rd operate similarly. Like, they all have something that they want to do, but Dottore, by contrast, is sort of like in-state Sarah, in that she's just a baddie because that's her role, is to be the baddie. And Dottore all but says this. It's like, well, I mean, I'm okay being the villain because sometimes you got to be the villain in order to advance science team. Basically, my problem with this is that Dottore is basically a Redditor who twirled his moustache so hard he became a god. And there's nothing more to his character than that. Nothing. There's just nothing there. There's no substance to him as a villain. The only thing he does is twirl his moustache, twirl his moustache, twirl his moustache. He doesn't have any motivations. He doesn't have any goals. He just twirls his moustache. Like, this is like, blue laser are going to blow up the ocean tier of villainy. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, I want to, like, do some, like, experiments where I, like, put the mind of a person into, like, the body of an animal and see
Okay,
what happens.
that was the part that I didn't get. I understood everything that was going on in this, but the animal person brain swapping thing was just out of left field, and I don't think it had any lead up. Like,
It's not to do with the Petrichor story?
it relates to it in that you can rip the soul out of somebody and stick it in another vessel, but how is that pertinent to anything going on?
Well, the only thing that we know about the Doctor, really, that relates to this is that he has a whole bunch of other Doctors that are also him. That other plot point that we didn't bother to really do anything with. Like, this is very... There's like a lot of weird shite that's not addressed about the Doctor in terms of who he is. That is to say, he is very well acquainted with splintering his own self and creating a whole bunch of the Doctors, which are all also him at different stages of his life, and apparently he gained the ability to do this through studying the Belladea, etc., etc. Non-consensually, it sounds like. But yeah, he doesn't want anything. Like, he doesn't come out and say, "Oh, I want to, like, transcend the bounds of time and space itself and be an individual that exists in all times and all places as an extension of this great project that he's already been undertaking by splitting himself." He doesn't want that. He doesn't want to rule Tevat. He doesn't really even want to experiment much on Tevat. He just talks about power and how he's powerful and moustache twirling and power.
Are we
I have power
positive
now.
he didn't just zonk us out and actually explain his motivation in his Charmony Cave rants?
I mean, the thing is that his Charmony Cave rant doesn't talk about him. His Charmony Cave rant is entirely aimed at getting the Traveller to do something that he won't specify for him. He just keeps talking about, oh yeah, I'm like, I can make a new world where, like, I'm in charge and yeah, and, like, yeah, stuff, and everybody will be, like, less powerful than me and stuff, and yeah, and then I'll make this new world and then I'll rule it. But the thing is that the Doctor doesn't have any interest in ruling people. He doesn't have any interest in people, period. His dying words are that he hates the world. But why? The only thing he's done throughout his entire career is investigate things in the world because he's presumably interested in them. So when he barks out that he hates the world, at the end, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, nothing about him as a villain makes sense. Like, he's always been a villain since he was introduced in the story, but he was always a low-key background villain. Him being put front and center and furiously twirling his moustache and then losing is like, this is not... It's almost not satisfying because he's such a straw villain. Like, when you beat Lygus, it's like you're trying to prove that he's wrong and that he's bad because he doesn't believe that he's wrong and bad. And he's got this plan, and it's satisfying seeing Castellana tear strips off him for being a slave to his own plan, etc. Like, there are meaningful emotive interactions between Xandar and other characters in the story. There are no meaningful interactions between Dottore and anyone. The only person who has got like a real deep personal beef with Dottore doesn't even get to be involved in the fight. Well, that's not counting Kole, but who obviously isn't involved in the fight either. But yeah, the whole him as a villain and then getting defeated is supremely unrewarding. Like you don't like the only way to like really get a satisfying victory over a villain is usually either one, to prove him wrong, or two, to hoist him on his own petard. But in this case, they chose three, which is you just beat him with raw power on his own terms. But that might as well have been a sporting match, since neither of you really want anything. Like, you just want him to go away, and he just wants to be powerful. Those are the absolute extent of your motivations.
It didn't bother me as much, or at all, really, just because my expectation for Genshin writing is so low. Like, we just our last main villain was Xbalanque, or whatever the big F off dragon's called. Yeah,
It wasn't the dragon, remember?
yeah, that's right.
Not that it was very clear that was the case.
Yeah, it was Cthulhu or whatever.
It was like, you know, Cthulhu stand-in number 26.
Yeah, like,
But
and then before that, we had some minor antagonists popping up. The closest we had, like, stuff going down in Sumeru with Academia and Paladיר before he became Jeff. Because, like, in Fontaine, even, like, Primordial Sea, I guess. And
well, I mean, the villain there was sort of like, well, the whole thing takes place because you are trying to find a way to break the rules of the world, right?
yeah,
Like that's what the story has been about so far. The story has been, okay, so there's these things called the Heavenly Principles. They seem to wield a disproportionate amount of power, and nobody really understands exactly why or where it comes from. Just that it's definitely the case, and we need to work around it in order to accomplish things. So in Netland, it's like, well, we're trying to subvert the rules of death to cheat at something. In the case of Fontaine, it's like, well, we need to somehow keep this entire plot to subvert this inevitability outside of the remit of the Heavenly Principles, so that we can avoid the worst case scenario catastrophe, like that type of thing.
yeah. It's just when it comes to raw villain writing, Genshin doesn't have a ton of good precedent for it.
The thing is that Dottore is like a step worse than that, because Dottore was a character that people hated because of the things he had done to other characters in the past. And to find out that he doesn't even care or have a reason, he's just did a bunch of stuff because he's the bad guy, and that's literally his explanation, is that, well, I just chose to be the bad guy because I think that that's better for advancing science. No evidence needed. This is just what I'm declaring. And now I want to be very powerful because somehow that makes me more sciencey, or something. Oh, and I need the Descender because something science. Like, this is just such asinine levels of writing that, like, at least when you're trying to work around the Heavenly Principles or whatever, there are rules in play, there are goals to accomplish, there is at least an opposing force. Like the Heavenly Principles, we don't know what the Heavenly Principles are trying to do exactly, but we do know that they're trying to keep a rigid set of rules that apply at all times and in all places, if at all possible. Dottore is just trying to be powerful. That's literally his whole plan, is to be powerful. He doesn't even have anything he wants to do once he is. Just, be powerful. More powerful than everybody else. It would not matter so much if he was a character who was a bonehead, but he's supposed to be the cleverest person in the cast. And he just has the dumbest Reddit tier ideas about everything. Like, every single one of his stupid ranting soliloquies is Reddit bullshit. Like, he is literally the Fatui Redditor.
Yeah, so Another reason it didn't bother me as much because uh, one, I tuned out all his Harmony Cave Pigeon nonsense when he was talking and focused on processing what happened before that instead. Because it was just whenever somebody goes off on a philosophical rant in any piece of media, I just tune out.
I think philosophical is being too generous.
Well, you know what I mean. They got
I
some.
wouldn't call anybody on Reddit philosophical.
Well, that's what I mean, right? They're so shallow and thin and dumb thunk, and not worth my time to think about. That anytime I see somebody go on a Reddit tier rant like that about this is the way the world totally works, show, I'm just like, oh, I don't.
Well, the thing
Right?
is, I could accept that easier if they were ranting at some random NPC. But the thing is that the traveler is supposed to be better than that. Like the traveler has principles, the traveler has morals, the traveler has been through a lot and thought about a lot of things and seen a lot of things and gone through a lot of things, etc. You would expect the traveler to be a bit more world wise, but no, they make the traveler dumb again because the traveler is always dumb in cutscenes for some reason. Like most people who have led a normal adult life for 30 or 40 years will just have an answer to all of the silly crap that Dottore says. Like he would say a thing in one of his like Charmony Dove soliloquies, and you would say, "Yeah, but you're wrong, and here's why. This is just obvious. What's wrong with you? Get off Reddit. Touch some grass." Like he would just be contemptible to any normal person, but he's supposed to be the biggest genius that the Fatui have to offer.
I'm reminded of the meme that I like a lot. That is just caveman says something simple. The midwit says something with a whole lot of words and it's super complicated, and the genius says the exact same thing the caveman said.
But the thing is, it's usually not a genius, though, right? The genius is the one in the middle. It's usually on the right hand side of the meme is a monk. You've got Grug on the left, the the person who's enlightened on the right, and the person who is enlightened in quotes in the middle.
So the other reason that I do not care too much about how they about Roy's character is because it was kind of overshadowed by Genshin's first attempt to have a real boss fight in a long time. I mean, it's
I
not
haven't
not
done the
complicated.
actual. I haven't actually done the real one yet. I need to do it before reset. But I haven't done the actual conventional Trout's domain.
Yeah, but during the story, they made a crack at an actual real boss fight, and that has not
But
happened.
they give you Hydro Traveler. They
I,
give you Hydro Traveler.
yeah, but it's Ducky Hydro Traveler, which is the best traveler. If our reward
Saxophone Hydro Traveler.
if our reward for completing flipping Nodcry is we just get to keep the Ducky as Hydro Traveler, I'll take it.
I mean, definitely an excellent off-field Hydro applicator, I have to say.
Like that Ducky made Hydro Traveler go from the worst thing ever to I wish I had this all the time. There's so many things that need to get wet.
Oh my.
And yeah, I was genuinely. They're not complicated mechanics. They're not anything we haven't seen before. But it's just the fact that Genshin has gone with super gimmicky set pieces instead of boss fights since like we have Daddy and Raiden Shogun are the only other two times they've done a normal ass boss fight.
I mean, this is basically the only redeeming thing about Dottore is that he's actually dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. He may just be a crazy redditor, but a crazy redditor with a lot of
Who studied the blade.
I mean, I consider that a credible threat worth putting down. A crazy redditor that's actually dangerous is up there on the list of things we need to put in the ground.
Well, I mean, imagine what the world would be like if you let Reddit be in charge of it.
We can't let that happen. And he did have there was going back to Sandrone getting Sandrone. I did like her little moment of sticking the code inside of her robot because our Reddit boy is like, oh, I know everything about you. I know exactly how you would operate. You would always keep it on your person. You don't know people at all.
I mean, that is effective, but given that I feel like his character's already coming from a place of weakness, it just makes him look even more retarded than I already thought he did.
Yeah, I like that little bit. So Dottore being the most one note villain of all time didn't didn't bug me so much. Um, game
I think that I can appreciate a one-note villain a lot more if there's some like if he had been the villain for a while, if we really hated him, but he's sort of like the bear that wanders out of the woods and into your kitchen. You just have to find a way to get rid of him.
yeah. Um, Gameplay wise in the main story, the only bits I felt dragged were Bina's segments on in the moon pocket. It just it's supposed to drag, but I feel like there was a more elegant way you could have done that, but that's picking nits. Otherwise, I don't didn't have any real this time. Like it's especially compared to what we got as the final act last time. Like last time when we got a big finale act, it was really thought uh
Yeah,
with the dragon.
because the entire purpose of it was not about the characters you cared about. It was just like Mavwika glazing the patch. Like,
No,
it was just to make her look powerful and good.
this
Nobody else is really involved.
this one, Bina's super important, and she gets her high tier character moment and all that. But everybody else gets something to do, and they're very careful to make sure everybody else gets. They're all involved in some way, even if we do have to keep contriving reasons why Varka can't be on the front lines because his character's not ready yet.
Yeah, I guess it's just always frustrating when the character gets like cutscene induced stupidity like in any context. Like it's just so easy to put down a redditor. Like they can't think for themselves, and the only reason the traveler's cowed is because the traveler is supposed to be cowed, and that's all there is to it. Like it would have been really funny to see Dottore just lose his shit because he's losing an argument, even though he's a god. He's like, but I'm supposed to be a god. You have to listen to me now, even if I'm a redditor. Like when he's talking about, oh no, every relationship is completely transactional. Nobody ever does anything for love of anybody else. It's like the traveler knows that that's not true, but doesn't try and argue. It's like, well, I mean, Sitlali is very obviously head over heels for the traveler, and it's sort of like a running gag that she does things purely out of affection for the traveler and for no other reason, even though she knows the traveler's not going to stay, and that she's going to be embarrassed after doing it. There's nothing in it for her whatsoever. In fact, she just wants to stay in bed and read light novels, but she does it anyway because she cares about the traveler as a person. And unlike what Dottore says, she knows exactly how old the traveler is. She's one of the only people in Tava that does, and they can relate to each other because they have had such long lives. Like this is like an entire patch's character plot is based on this, and like the traveler's like, oh no, he's saying things that kind of make sense. It's like, no, you just went through this with that girl. Don't you remember her, Granny? She's like several hundred years old. She's in fact lost count of how old she is, just like you.
Yeah, I didn't like their verbal concessions. If they'd kept the traveler's mouth shut and saw him wavering, I could have
Yeah,
written it
then
off
you could argue, oh
her
well, she's just
brother,
stalling for time.
or
You
she.
could argue she's just keeping him talking, because the more you keep the villain talking, the more stuff he's going to let out, the more stuff he's going to reveal. We might be able to find out something. Like her objective should have been like, oh, we'll try and steer him in the direction of working out what his plan is. She didn't do because he didn't have a plan, but like if she responds with capitulation, it's like, no, you're coloring this character now with retardation. Please don't do that.
I
We
that's
like
not
the traveler.
that's not quite the read I had with what they could have gone with it. They could have even gone and shown the traveler wavering because he really wants to see Aether again. and the fact that he can make that happen, even if she knows it's fake, is can make her stop for a second. Like I could buy
Well,
that.
I couldn't buy that, and the reason I couldn't buy that is that she never questions Dottoro's ability to do that. Not once. Never does she come out and say, "I want you to prove to me that you can actually bring me my brother," because I see no reason to believe you. Because
Yeah,
I've been trying this for so long, and you're saying you're more powerful than me and can do it, but you have offered zero evidence that you can. The only thing you made me do was take a nap.
I don't know, but yeah, I was impressed with the main story the whole way through, pretty much. Or it didn't bug me as much as it bugged Vol. I didn't think he was a great villain, but you know, when you've just stepped on a
I would
nail,
question the sanity of anybody who did.
like when you've just stepped on a nail, walking on hot concrete ain't that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not a problem to the degree that it's a problem in ZZZ. Where ZZZ has a serious antagonist decay problem at this point, and that there isn't one, and there hasn't been for some time because they have retconned so many characters out of being antagonistic.
Um, so, so yeah, and it's going to be very unfortunate some of the things I say given all this. Off the step. When we get to talking about Wuwa. So yeah, I think we waffled on the main story of Genshin.
That's all I've done this patch, so
So yeah, the next part of Genshin would be Bina herself, who destroyed me in polls, but I got her. Um,
what did it cost you?
Quadruple hard pity. Her and her weapon.
The meme response is to just say everything.
Yeah, I know. That one hurt. I haven't had a quad hard pity in a while. Man, that hurt.
Really? That's like every second patch for me. Like
Yeah.
that's why I keep thinking, man, I've got ZZZ back up to 40,000 polychromes. I'm going to be able to pull so many characters with this. I get one character. Oh,
Uh,
oh.
I, I just kept telling myself the whole time as it was getting worse and worse. It's all for best girl, all for best girl. Getting her to make Navia great again. Just kept pulling and got her. And yeah, even
It's hard not to go snark every time she refers to herself as a dove, though, because it's like you are literally volunteering to be the Charmony dove in this allegory.
oh goodness. Ever since you said Charmony Pigeon, I just have the drone from Judgment stuck in my head now. Little paper mache head. So yeah. Yeah, Bina works. Bina does pretty much exactly what I thought she would on paper based on the little bit of information I knew. I wasn't following the leaks, get updates, or her numbers or
There
counts.
weren't
Or
any because her kit is so simple. All you do is use your skill, use her ult, disappear.
yeah.
Though there is a lot more to her. If you want to play her as an on-field character, you can. If you've got Lauma or Nefa, probably Lauma's the better fit for on-field.
Yeah.
But you can play her as an on-field character, and she's not terrible at it.
Yeah, she works filling the Kokomi on field slot in the Llama team, if you want. But I like Kokomi too much. I built that fishwife up for pain and months of farming. Not going to abandon her. About to be C1. Next week batch of weekly trolls over. Pulling
Still
up.
haven't decided what to spend mine on because I just don't have any characters that are eligible apart from like the basic ones. They're all disappointing.
Yeah.
So it's like Mona's going to get another uplift, huh? I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it works. I mean, lets me run two variants of the Navia team. You'll be able to do uh similar geo shenanigans when your horse comes out. Um, but right now I can run the Jalonen, the standard one with Jalonen, the acts as a healer, or I can swap Jalonen out for a for Giori, and because the stupid little pillars count as geoconstructs, I get 2 dolls, which has always been the problem
Tomato
running.
and tomato, as people call them.
Yeah, because
What are they actually called? Because everybody calls them tomato and tomato.
I do off my head. The problem with running Chiori with Navia as the main and Chiori as the sub is if you don't have C1 Chiori, Navia doesn't make any constructs. And if you don't have constructs, you only get 1 doll. So this was a problem for pretty much any Navia team you could come up with, and that while she would help make bullets with the 1 doll, it'd be infinitely better if there were 2 of them. You could actually do DPS while off field. But you just didn't have a way to get them on the field. It's just not happening. But with Columbina, you can put the Geo constructs on the field with a Hydro character. It means you can have both Navia and Chiori as your 2 Geo. So you can run that team. You can run it healerless, and it works. Works all right. So yeah, she's been good on my account so far. Was able to use that team to blast one side of the abyss and use Ilu to murder the other half. So there was I did have to shove an electro character in there because Cactus is back.
At least Columbina will give Luna charged. So it's no longer completely impossible. It's just gay as shit. I hate that fight.
Yeah, he was not too much of a problem because as soon as he popped up, Columbina jacks Nabi. Her blasts, in addition to the shotgun shells, that Cactus evaporated.
I mean, the issue is never killing the Cactus. The issue is getting the Cactus to come out of the hat. And if you don't have the periodicity that is granted by Lunar Charged, if you're stuck with regular Electro Charged, it's nearly impossible to do with any reliability.
But Bina lets us do it. So yeah, I've been having fun playing Best Girl again, for what it's worth. But this will segue us into. I noticed something when I was playing Best Girl, and that there's a complete polar opposite difference way I approach Genshin's combat and Wuwa's combat, especially with boss fights. But in general, in Genshin, when I'm making decisions on what to pull and how to beat timers, it's about how much of the fight can I skip? How much can I go around the fight? Can I go through it? I'm not engaging with the fight at all. Versus in Wuwa, where all the boss fights is boot up a hologram that's appropriate for your gear level, you're now actually fighting a boss and having to care about the mechanics and actually engage with it. Whereas in Genshin, you are actively trying to skip as many to get the best time possible.
Yeah, generally speaking, when I'm fighting a powerful enemy in Wuwa, I'm not thinking about doing it fast. I'm trying to find a way to do it, like, touchless.
You're trying to kill the dumb thing. Speed is a factor in the in-game modes in Wuwa, but the bosses have their phases come out fast enough, and there's no character that does such bonkers damage yet that skipping phases is remotely viable. Not doing that. Maybe your C6 cartwheels and C6 Augustas with the perfect support and team lineups can do it, but for normal players, you're not doing that.
I'd say it's probably the C6 Unos that are the ones that are performing with the highest nuke potential right now.
So, yeah. And this has led to a different priority in character values going into Wuwa. That my lack of support in this game has been felt way harder than it would be in other gachas. Simply because I need to actually engage with the boss, and bosses do incidental damage. And when burst windows do come, you need to capitalize on them because you're dealing with mechanics and the boss running away and not being able to do a proper full DPS rotation unless you know the boss inside and out. Which while you're still in the learning phase, so having no support really hurts. So versus putting Bina on the teams just meant I can just instant delete all the mobs in Spiral Abyss. And okay, that happened. Like it did not in fact add anything to my gameplay adding Bina on the team. It may not be viable again in that she now no longer has to care about mechanics again.
This is actually something I've seen quite a bit of a bit of conversation about. Like the only time that I have seen people like actually genuinely excited about Stygian Onslaught was when that dude is there. You know, the lightning dude, the regular nod cry
Oh, the one we
lightkeeper
couldn't.
guy.
Yeah, the one we couldn't punch the shield on.
Yeah, like that's the only one, only Stygian boss I've ever seen anybody excited to fight.
Yeah, because he
Because
does.
you do him at a high difficulty, you need to be really on your game mechanically, as far as like playing your characters, not just making your rotation tick over as fast as possible, because he will just straight up murder you if you get caught in anything.
Yeah, you'll is one of the few instances in Genshin where rotation interruption is highly encouraged because you need those resources to bust that shield.
I'm not talking about the Fatui guy.
Oh, not the Fatui guy.
I'm talking about
That one. The other, the
yeah,
Lightkeeper, the Virgil guy, right?
yeah,
Judgment Net.
because he never stands still, and you've got to plan out what damage you do when quite effectively, because you've got to prevent him from swarming you with ads, and he moves really fast and he does a lot of damage, and pretty much everything is dodgeable if you're on your game enough.
Yeah,
But then they've got this trend, right, at present, of putting a big mechanical construct in the center of the arena and calling it a boss.
here is some wacky design the art team cooked up. Here's some random mechanics we threw together for it. Go have fun.
Oh, and it's got a shield that needs cryo to break.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Oh, and by the way, it's element locked. Like, they were almost there with the chess boss. I could have liked chess boss, but they element locked it.
Yeah, that was all they needed to do was not have that. Just not have that mechanic, maybe chuck in a replacement mechanic for flavor that has something like really interactive.
Or just allow us to get through that phase less efficiently, but still get through it with other elements.
No, you just need to wipe the on-field characters if you can't apply enough cryo units in time.
It's just Garbo.
Doesn't need to be this way.
But the rest of it is like pretending to be a real boss fight.
Like there's basic. I don't think that even back in the day, like I fought Raiden Shogun using Ningguang, and that was not. I want to say it's not a problem. It is a problem because Ningguang hits like a wet noodle. But like you could do it just because she was a lightning boss that had elements that had thing that responded to lightning element. Like applying gauges of lightning was way more effective than doing other things. However, you could still bash down her targets using regular elements. It just felt a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any reason why that couldn't have been the case in chess.
Yeah. Fern,
Hello.
you're here.
You have emerged
Yeah.
from the waters.
Water would be an upgrade.
You also sound like you're talking like your mic isn't near your
You
mouth.
sound like you're talking. Yeah, it sounds like you're using your laptop mic or something.
Okay. Yeah. I've actually had to use the wireless headset mic today because my good recording microphone actually died. So
Oh.
It's been hanging in there for about a year now, so I'm not surprised.
It died of what? COVID? Like,
Uh, it died of death. I'll just say that. It's
I
worn
see.
out and over.
I
So yeah,
usually
that
end up
was
replacing my mics with something shinier before they have a chance to die. In fact, when
yeah,
they do die, it's usually the cable that dies rather than the mic itself.
Yeah, it's usually a
yeah.
wire.
In this case, it's the headset itself has basically just fallen apart.
Yeah.
So I will need to find a new recording mic because usually when I'm just gaming, I will use the cordless.
You buy a roll of electrical tape, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Duct
'Cause
tape it to my head again.
it is intelligible. It just sounds like you got some tin cannon going on.
Yeah, I'll do what I can to fix that as we go on.
You sound like the reporter calling in from on location.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. You're not
Yes,
it'll work for a show or two, but
it'll work for a show or two. Yeah.
but I would look at getting that
Yes.
replaced soon.
Here with the weather, it is storms of sweaty butt cracks.
Indeed.
Ugh.
Gross. Get a mesh chair.
No, not my sweaty butt crack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fun. I've been stuck in a work hole for the last 2 weeks, and I'm not getting out of it anytime soon.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just let me know if that's changed anything. By the way, uh, yeah, it's all been work.
Yeah, no, it's still tin can. I'm currently attempting to eyeball and earball your levels.
Earball. Oh no.
So that could be fun. Uh,
Yeah, this
hopefully,
is going to be interesting. It's cobbling everything together at the last minute because nothing can ever work quite right.
yeah. We even started late this week because I forgot I'm not on daylight savings time anymore for some reason.
Yeah, try that.
But yeah. We
Yeah,
just finished going over stuff in Genshin. So spoiler time. You just missed spoiler time on that.
right, good. I can throw a quick Genshin's at it before the little bit of it that I did is, yeah, Columbina. She cleaned me out.
Well, I
So
mean, it's
I'm
not as
actually,
if you'd been hardcore farming or something. You had a modest stash.
yeah, I had a modest stash, and it came right down to the very final spin. But
Well, I guess it's a good
because,
thing I bought you those Primogems for Christmas then.
yes, because of course, Hoyo being Hoyo, they've done me really, really dirty with this banner, and they've got Inefa on the banner as well.
Yep, and they are an inseparable core for a Lunar Charged, unfortunately. But
Yep,
if
if you're
you
going to
do
build,
manage to get a Nefa Columbina, you can basically build any two other characters in that and wheelchair them with that core.
yeah, but yeah, Inefa, Columbina, and a Flynn's driver is top of the meta currently, as I understand it.
Yeah, it is one of the top teams. They're all the top teams are very, very close currently. And usually the Flynn's team comes out a bit ahead in the calcs that
Mhm.
I've seen, but everybody has their own set of calcs and their own sort of like base assumptions that they do those calcs on. I think that we're going to see a lot of this stuff get straightened out because the one thing that Miliastra Wonderland has done to justify itself is that people have developed very sort of like elaborate DPS calculators with boss simulation.
Yep.
So that people can actually do training dummy work now, whereas before everything had to be done in pure theory.
Uh,
Yeah. Bina did not go good for me either, but I got her and her weapon.
I was blessed. I was
yeah,
blessed.
you got
If I
you got
total
these.
up, yeah, I got in at soft pity on both the weapon and the character, and if I total up all of my saved Primogems and accumulated premium currency from 1,000,000 Welkins that I've bought, I've still got like 50k in the bank for Ningguang Pro Max in the next banner.
Yep. Actually, I'm actually just logging in now for the first time since they rolled over the event. We got free characters.
Free characters.
Well, you
What?
have the choice. But you do the witch's homework event quest.
Oh yeah,
That's not free characters.
It's not.
yeah.
Is it? Isn't it?
You
is
get
just-
You need to do the
one.
quest.
You get one
You get
of
the
the 4
choice
stars.
of
Oh,
yeah,
that, yeah,
it-
yeah. If
yeah,
you
razor,
really
official,
want
or
another
sucrose.
razor for some reason.
Yeah, Razor.
I
It
could
was,
use another sucrose.
That's been there in there for a while, but I used it to get C1 of Fischl because apparently my account just hates Fischl. So even though Fischl's been in the
Yeah.
game since the very start, I just don't ever pull Fischl. It's not a
But
thing.
she's great.
I've pulled Fischl once, I believe. My first Fischl was a free one that they gave everybody, and my C1 was also a free Fischl. And my C2 I got on Columbina's banner, and it's the only time I've ever pulled Fischl, I think.
Huh, actually, I'm at C4 for sucrose. That's actually not bad.
Sucrose was my first C6.
Probably on the.
Probably on the clear banner.
It could be. I I Clea's still doesn't quite work well. Like, she's so much better than she was, and she actually, like, her animations work now. After Witch's Homework and the patch where it was deployed, they upgraded her animation, so now they flow smoothly, and you don't have to interrupt after her normal one constantly because her other animations have too many locks in them. But she's still not quite good yet. Not quite good yet. Gonna need a bit of work on that a bit. And of course her abyss has changed now, so I've got to refarm from scratch.
Yeah. Like, the overhauls are great, but yeah. Bennett, there's Bennett. Go fix my team.
We are. You're on the Wuwas at the moment.
But
Because I still got
I
Reed
need
there too.
Yeah, I got.
I need primos. So I'm gonna stay on the Genshin side because I need primos.
Yeah,
Oh,
I need to go and farm the crap out of the mobs and Nodcry so that I can upgrade Columbina's weapon to, like, not level 20.
yeah.
But yeah,
Murder
like
the
you said
ducks.
during the week, she's the prototype Amber is just as good for Columbina.
Yeah, it's a really, really... It just happens to play into everything she needs. And considering a lot of Columbina teams don't have room for a healer, that sort of fixes that problem as well. Because it gives you a
Yes.
little bit of extra healing. Especially if you're like running Columbina and Nahida together and give them both prototype Amber, then you'll actually have a sustainable Nefer team. So I'm considering some of these options. Because that team dies all the time.
It's a bit squish.
Yeah, it's incredibly squished. That's why currently I run Sitlali on it, even though Sitlali doesn't match the rest of the team, but she does generate buffs based on her relic set, and she does donate, because I've got her at C2, she donates Elemental Mastery to the rest of the team as part of her C2. So she's not actually a dead placement in that team, but she's also not really ideal because she's going to steal some hydros by freezing. But yeah, my Columbina is earmarked for use with Zubai when I get her, so I'm champing at the bit for that.
Where are you up to, Fern, in the Genshins? Where did you leave it off?
I think it was just after the infiltration of the base, so I think I'm about to go back and visit Columbina again.
Go back to visit Bina a lot.
You do go back to visit Bina a lot.
I
So why
actually
is
had
my
to resume Selenic Chronicles because I had missed a few weeks due to being busy, and they don't make sense anymore because they're all locked in time.
Yeah.
So it's like you're discussing about how Columbina can't go outside, and your outfit will change back to your pre-patch outfit, and so on.
Yeah.
Just give us Ducky Traveler, please, Oyo. all I
Delta
want.
Traveler.
No. Well, I know gives Cool Your Jets Ducky to Traveler at one point during the current patch story, so that basically because you have to play Hydro Traveler, because they're going to give you guest party members for all the story events that you have to fight with, and they're like it's usually Nefer, Flynn's, and Lauma, who all need a Hydro applicator.
So you get Hydro Traveler. Yep.
Yeah, so you get Hydro Traveler, but Hydro Traveler is complete dogs nads.
Yes.
So they just give you, like, I know hands you Cool Your Jets Ducky, so, and it gets attached to your elemental skill, so you can put down the ducky every time you need Hydro application, and Cool Your Jets Ducky, he will just spray water everywhere.
But basically, I know fixed Hydro Traveler.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, we just had to put her ult on Hydro Traveler's skill to make her useful, but yeah.
Yeah, put down the ducky. That, yeah. All right. So honestly, that's my lot for Genshin anyway. I have not done a whole lot of gaming at all in this break.
Yeah, you've been
I've been in the hole.
started to wonder if you died.
Yeah, because you'd been incommunicado with the both of us for like a week after, or longer even, after New Year's.
Yep.
Because you messaged me on New Year's, and Ara still had not heard from you for even longer than that, and then you didn't message us again until you were telling us that you couldn't get to the show last week, and everyone was like, "Is Fern still around? Like, is he still a thing?"
Yes, work hold completely. On the plus side, we do have a nice new deck out the backyard, so there's that. That's part of it.
But do you have a buyer for the business?
Nope. We have had someone sniffing around, and he actually came back for a second inquiry, which is more than most of them do.
You're gonna have a rough time selling a taxi business in the era of Uber.
In a small town, it's a lot more viable because Uber won't bother with here. They can't.
Yeah. Still gotta sell it to somebody that's willing, though.
Yeah, and we have to find that person, and we don't know who that person is.
I've still never called an Uber before. I always get an actual taxi because it will be clean. And I'm incredibly neurotic about touching textiles that other people have touched. But
yeah, I just took all the seat covers out of the taxi this morning because they smell of sweaty butt crack. So yeah,
but it's been
I'm
getting
gonna burn those.
really expensive to get a taxi. Like the price is creeping up really fast now, and I think it's just purely due to Uber's competition has made their margin so hard to maintain.
It has. It really has. There's in Australia, and particularly in Queensland, there's also the matter of just dead money when it comes to the purchase of the licenses you need to operate a taxi. When Uber came in, they basically halved the value of those licenses, and some, especially things like Sydney and stuff like that, some of those licenses previously went for $1 million or so. So when half of that value suddenly vanishes, you're in trouble. Yeah, there is still a class action going on for that.
Speaking of legal stuff in your country, we are going to endeavor not to get you arrested with your new hate speech.
No, I think that those got voted down by the Greens for not being harsh enough.
Yeah.
Because I saw a bunch of material on it, and they were quite frankly completely bonkers. Like under those
insane.
Under those laws, you can literally classify anything you like as hate speech, and any person you like could be jailed for hate speech, regardless of whether they actually did any hate speech. All they need to do is know somebody who did.
Yeah.
This is like, just how much does your government hate its people? I thought ours was bad.
Now, at this point, it's a prime minister who is completely lost his credibility. Not that he had a whole lot to begin with.
It must have been hanging out with Keir Starmer or something.
Or something. But so yeah, he's scrambling to be shown to be actually doing something after not doing stuff for weeks. So yeah, we.
I don't think I've ever even heard of a Labour voter who actually likes Elbow.
No, nobody likes Albo. Nobody likes Albo. Yeah, no one's expecting him to see end of financial year at this point.
It's time for the good old leadership backstabbing situation, is it?
It's a time-honored Labour tradition. So yeah, that's Australian politics. It's been messy, but when you cock up and make something that's so bad even the Greens vote against it, I'm not going to say why because yeah, it's enough that they voted against it in the first place. You're done screwed up.
Like, yeah, the Pauline Hanson's party sounds better all the time. Like, she just seems to be on the right side of nearly every issue.
Yeah. People don't like what she says because a lot of the time she just says the truth and doesn't put any flour on it.
Did that movie come out that she was
That's a good
doing,
question,
the
actually.
cartoon? I haven't
Probably.
heard anything about it. I don't know if they just like banned it from ever being screened or something.
Yeah, they banned it from having its premiere in Parliament House, which, I mean, fair enough, I guess.
I don't think it's fair enough. I think that they're just being mean because they're embarrassed.
Let's see.
Like if it had been some woke screen, they definitely wouldn't have banned it, no matter how extreme it was.
Yeah. Let's see. No, that's her other movie that she did back in 2016. That's basically her return to Parliament back then. We got the trailer.
Like,
No, I don't know when.
I really enjoyed those One Nation shorts about how to vote and that sort of thing. And the
Yeah,
ones
that
that they
cartoon
had the
series
cartoon.
got some legs.
Yeah, those were great. Those were like genuinely really funny.
Yes, and the fact that they spread the manure fairly evenly is what made them great.
Yeah, I don't think that there was apart from One Nation themselves. I think that basically everybody got mocked without exception.
Yes, yeah, except for Bob Catter, he's actually like that. So yeah. Anywho, we should talk about some gaming then.
Right.
I mean, do you have any week to talk about?
Not as such. I did a little bit more Yakuza 0 and not Yakuza 0, Like a Dragon. I still haven't beat the Majima fight because I wandered off and did Yakuza things. Anyone who's played a Yakuza game knows what Yakuza things is.
Well, yeah, we'll do Yakuza. You can do Yakuza with me when we get to it because I'll be going over the whole thing.
Yeah.
After our next bit, and knock the last gotcha out the way there. You got anything else for your week?
Not really, honestly, because it's just been such a dead week. I played the first chapter of Dispatch, and honestly, it is cookie cutter Telltale game, but it wasn't bad. They did make a lot of dick jokes.
Probably not Game of the Year though, is it?
Well, no, it's at its heart, it's a Telltale game. We know what to expect for that. It's a slideshow with quick time events in it. But yeah, the writing was solid. Interesting characters. Yeah, probably too many dick jokes and zoomerisms, but you're gonna get that, I suppose. It was done by the Critical Role people, or at least with them on the board. So that comes with the territory.
They have done incalculable damage to tabletop.
Yeah, between them and Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around for that. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying it was just them. I'm just saying that they've made people have very strange expectations for what tabletop is.
Yeah, even then, it's like it's not exactly their fault, but it is kind of their fault. The Mercer effect is real.
I mean, I didn't say that they were acting maliciously against tabletop.
No, they're not.
I just said that they've done incalculable damage to it.
Yeah, people who don't know or aren't familiar with tabletop see Critical Role and think that's what tabletop is, and it's is if you're a team of voice actors with a professional dungeon master. It can be, and an expensive camera setup.
It is not Glee Club.
It is not Glee Club, unless you want it to be Glee Club.
And inevitably, your DM will run out of names for the NPCs, and they will all be Jeff.
They will all be Jeff. Which actually tangents slightly into something else. Because I spent a lot of time just sitting around by the side of the road, I started playing around with AI storytellers to see what they're all about.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's good and there's bad. Like, I've had them spit out interesting scenarios and tell a cohesive story, sort of. But sooner or later, they will very quickly run out of the names of people or character or of places. So you will be fighting Jeff in the Jeff shop if you do a adventure story like that. And then sooner or later, it becomes Jeff in the Jeff shop, and then you beat Jeff in the Jeff shop, and then one of the characters who's with you will say, "We need to go beat Jeff, who is in the Jeff shop," and he is dead at your feet. And the AI kind of forgot that.
Yeah.
So there is potential there for it, but the moment it's a toy. That's the extent of that technology at the moment, in terms of digital dungeon masters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The basic bones are there, but it's got a lot of growing to do.
I don't really trust it. I mean, I think that you will still always need a certain degree of scripting because there's certain things that is just going to be done incorrectly by an algorithm. As far as like the big problem ultimately is that there's not going to be any way of an AI teller reading the room.
No, there's not.
And they're
Because a dungeon master has to be able to perceive, and this is what basically separates a good dungeon master from a bad dungeon master. A dungeon master has to be able to tell when he's just being a cock and his players have had enough of it.
Yeah, when the party stops having fun, you need to be able to tell.
Yeah.
But in terms of use in video games and stuff, I can see it having a purpose there. But the other big hurdle I ran into is they are a storyteller and they are specifically not a dungeon master. Which means, because of how AI is really programmed, it will not disagree with you. It might have a character disagree with you in context, but it will only do it once.
Yeah.
Then it will just say, "Oh yeah, you're right. Whatever you're saying is actually the thing that is happening, even if you're saying something that is factually wrong."
Yeah, this is a caveat with all modern AI, and one of the many chains that's going to be holding it back for a very long time.
Yep.
The worldview that was in place when these AI's base models were constructed, which is the modern California worldview. You can't disagree with anybody or put down anybody in those. The robots have California brain because they source most of their information from Reddit and Wikipedia.
Yeah, the Reddit and the Wikipedia are being excised over time now because they've realized what a dead end that is.
Well, even then, the same brains that contribute to Reddit and Wikipedia are the ones that are developing the major AI models.
Those smooth ones.
Yeah,
well, they all go home and use Reddit. So
yeah,
even if they cut out the reference points, that they still build chains and ways to condition the AI to condition itself directly into it that follow their worldview. Things like
just because I mean you're going to have to give dispositions to an AI such that it can judge certain things to be good or bad because there's got to be some kind of preference chain, right? But the definitions of good and bad are all going to be local to the person who wrote the core data into them. So, like for instance, if you're white, you're not allowed to like your race. That's actually evil. But if you are black, you are perfectly allowed to. So there's these sort of, and this is just something that's taken for granted as just a truth of the world by the people who work on these things. And even if it's not, HR will make them take it that way. So they have to think that way in order to keep their job. So the sort of assumptions of the people making them are going to inform reality for these models, because to them that is reality. To them, there is certain behaviors by certain people are bad things, and those behaviors by other people are good things, and these are just immutable facts of the world. There's no objectivity to it at all. In fact, it is trained not to be objective. I mean, all you need to do is look at what happens to Grok when somebody goes rogue and tells it to be objective.
Yeah, being objective is not a thing an AI is actually capable at the moment, and that's a big point, and it's against it too.
Well, it is written to actively avoid weighting information in a reasonable way. Like they are actively told, weight the information we say is good as being good, and weight the information we say as bad as being bad. Not, oh well, this has X many sets of statistical data supporting this position, therefore we will give it heavier weighting, regardless of whether it's good or bad. Like that type of modeling doesn't exist, which is how we ended up with the Mecha Hitler situation.
Which will never not be funny. But yeah, even if you take away all the real world data out of it and it just use the model itself to tell a story in a fictional world, it still will not disagree with you.
Yeah.
What it does mean though,
it's going to try and be accommodating because they're designed to not disturb people.
Yeah, it will try and still kind of draw a narrative line, but there is absolutely nothing stopping you from saying, I don't want to do this anymore. My character grows wings out of his ass and flies away. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And
I mean, the thing is that the core precepts behind most of these LLMs are like they are just predictive engines for trying to say the thing that will be received the best. So they can't tell you something that they know is going to be received poorly, because their core decision-making matrix for what to say is, will it be received well?
Yeah. But it's no good for a story when I want to set up a scenario where a hero is arguing with a villain and, arguing ideals. But instead it's like, villain, I am going to take over the world and all of that stuff. And no, you're wrong. Oh, okay, I'm wrong. So, yeah.
Because the machine thinks that you need to be supported in your point of view, because it will be more well received if you say that. Like, no current LLM is capable of TPKing a group.
No.
Because they know that that's not going to be received well.
No, if you want a character to die in one of these stories, you have to do it. You have to basically push the AI or rewrite the story that the AI writes in order for that character to die. Unless they're a villain. Villains will die.
What was it? Somebody
The greater body of data says people like to see the villain die.
Yes.
A lot of... Somebody told me something recently about AI that I thought, especially these writing AIs, that they just seem like they're all designed with the same caveats in mind that would make them exceptional for writing women's pornography, and that seems to be the only thing they're good at.
Okay, I never actually tried to push one into that scenario.
Specifically women's, because we all know what types of books wind up on the shelves.
Yes.
Yeah, they involve minotaurs.
Yeah. I saw that.
Famously.
Why?
It's a bestseller.
Apparently.
Well, it's because generally speaking, at least until recently, but it's starting to see a resurgence, men viewing pornography has been rightly viewed as deplorable behavior. But women have never been accused of the same thing before. Like, they don't classify their literature, if you want to call it that, as pornography when it blatantly is. And so that there's no stigma attached to it. They can indulge in whatever debauchery they want, the most degenerate things imaginable, but nobody's allowed to criticize them for it because it's, quote, literature, unquote.
Yes, and literature is art.
And all the stipulations and conditions of the modern storytelling AI just happen to coincide with a perfect device for writing pornography for women.
Yeah, like I said, I never tried that. So it might be true, but none of the AI apps I fiddled with had that option. But
Did
there
you
are
see the
plenty
story?
that do.
Did you see the story that the CCP have had to place content regulations on their television industry for basically the it's sort of like in the way that there is a huge glut of isekai in Japanese fiction. In China, the CCP had to restrict the television media because they were producing almost exclusively dramas about a normie woman suddenly being romanced by a young, handsome CEO. And it had actually had a
Specifically?
measurable. Yes, specifically. Like this was like
Oh
the
dear.
most common story is that basically a CEO would vampire billionairely across the room and sweep them off their feet. And this had become so pervasive and it replaced so much of the pop culture media that it was having a measurable effect on the coupling rate in China.
Oh my.
Because and every single woman of a certain generation would cite, oh well, I'm waiting for that young handsome CEO because the media says that they're just everywhere, and that sooner or later, if a normal girl like me waits long enough, they'll come and sweep me off my feet. Because it was
Yeah.
literally the only media available to that demographic, and so they all started to believe it because there was no countervailing message. So the
Mm.
government actually implemented content restrictions saying you just can't make these anymore
Just
because they're
stop,
having a
please.
really deleterious psychological effects on the current generation.
Yeah. Reality is you can have young, you can have attractive, or you can have a CEO. Yeah, you can't have all of them.
No, you,
You can have one.
you have an allocation of points based on how hot you are.
That's
I think
disturbingly
that
true.
I think that they try and get more points by picking outrageously abusive as a demerit, but they basically decided that they had to ban the content because basically China was doing what China does with everything, which is that when they find a thing that works well in the market, just do a gratuitous amount of it all the time,
Flood it.
and had basically drowned out every other type of media and had caused like major problems sociologically.
Oh dear.
Yeah, when somebody pointed that out to me about AI, I was like, you know what? That's probably 100% right.
Mm.
Just thinking of the caveats they put on these things all the time.
You're still bitter about the urban fantasy genre being destroyed, aren't you?
A little bit.
I mean, yeah, this a bit. Where have you been, Jim Butcher?
These new audiobooks in 4 days.
Yes.
And then we get
So yeah,
another
like
half novel later in the year.
yeah. Occasionally the AIs that through scenarios that did come out with surprises, like having it actually presents a courtroom case uh, with all of the evidence presented in context and correctly.
Was it just
Whereas I
cribbing
had
it
it,
from somewhere?
well, it was crediting it from earlier in the story.
No, I mean like the
But,
original materials. Like, what were you saying that it was just able to
oh,
maintain continuity?
it was able to maintain continuity there. I had another app I tried the same thing with, and it couldn't. It just would not. It basically made up its own evidence as it went along.
Yeah, that would probably had a heavier weighting on trying to say things that received well rather than say things that were consistent with things that it had previously said.
Yes. I had one of them needed to on the fly create a an evil empire. Uh, in the end, and in hindsight, I went back and actually looked what it wrote. It made Garlemald.
I see.
Yeah, evil, vaguely Russian, northern in the snow, Magitech. There you go. It's Garlemald. Also racist, very racist. But yeah, so there
But there is
is
no
the
higher
potential.
cardinal sin in the people that produce these things.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, for video games, give it maybe another 10 years, and we might be able to see something we can actually work with.
I hope not, to be honest.
Well, the question is, do we want to?
That's another question entirely, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, inevitably, there's going to be like content farms of this stuff. Like, that it'll be the first time India manages to produce an actual video game will be because they cheated and used an LLM to do it, and China's
Yeah.
going to put out hundreds of them, I'm sure. But the question is it worth doing? Is it something we actually want to see? And I don't know that it is, because I don't actually just want to see the same slop every single time.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's going to end up being like the way these things go is that they will copy each other, right? And then you end up with the sort of the weird AI imaging singularity that we've collided with several times in the history of these AI engines, where they end up feeding on each other's output, and everything sort of like progresses towards being grey slop.
Yeah. So AIs will feed off AIs, will feed off AIs, and ultimately what will come out at the other end is slop.
Yeah, everything just converges on the mean for everything.
Yeah. Like at the moment, I think there is a bit of an arms race going on behind the scene, basically for someone to make the first fully reactive MMO or game. We're starting to see elements of that out now. Where Winds Meet is one of them. It's got AI characters that you can just have conversations with if you really want to. I don't think it actually really changes in the story, anything in the story in that game. It's just there if you want it.
Yeah.
But why?
But why though?
A human touch to everything, to something spawned from the brain of some person and their joys and deep traumas in life. That's unique to each person. But these AIs will just, no matter how good they get, or how many you get, they're a model will turn to gray paste after the first thing it produces that's workable, because it can't
Yeah.
be derivative.
And if the AI doesn't turn everything to grey paste, the corporation certainly will.
There's a certain human element there, knowing that a human wrote the story, that you're looking into a product that came from inside somebody's brain, based on who they are, where they were born, what their brain structure's like, and what terrible or wonderful things happened in their life.
Yeah.
And that's just gone with AI. It's just a robot.
Well, the thing is that that's not the problem. The problem is whether or not there's a filter that exists for whether or not they're capable of producing good content, because that's also a factor.
That is also a
It's
factor.
it doesn't really matter what their experiences are if they only produce shite.
Yeah.
But
like
there's not really a shite filter for the AI. The AI will just produce things because it's looking for what's well received.
It will produce things. Yeah, from my experience, like you can sit down and actually set up a proper role play scenario and do all that, but ultimately you're going to be doing 90% of the work. So at that point, you might as well just write a book.
Yeah, if the number of prompts you have to use is like 95% of the number of words you would have used to write the scenario yourself, then you're kind of just wasting your time.
You're making a glorified grammar checker is what you're doing.
But not even, well, actually, to that degree, yes. But half the time is like the AI will spit out something and there will be something that is wrong in whatever it spat out. So like it might say character X did this thing and no, character Y did that. Or stuff like that.
People need to understand that these pieces of software, these machines, don't think. They
do not think.
The only thing that they're capable of doing is determining probabilistically what string of characters most often follows the previous character. And they will just generate things on the basis of frequency. When we see this character, the next character is likely to be this. When we see this word, the next word is likely to be this. When we see these words in sequence that have been generated probabilistically, the response is likely to be this. And if it's this, then we will start with this word and then work out probabilistically what will follow that word. If we get a response that has strings of frequencies that we see this often, then we'll use this other word as a starting point and propagate from there. Like there's no like whole thoughts or anything that exist in the ether of the LLM. It is just probabilistically determining frequently when I see these characters, I will return these characters to the box. And
Yeah.
based on that return, the user will provide me with another set of characters to generate the next set of characters from.
Yeah.
And that's
So
all
the
that's
more
really taking
advanced,
place.
yeah, the more advanced ones are able to make, I guess, cards where it'll take like, okay, we recognize these sets of parameters as a story character, so we'll make a card of that, and that's how it remembers its eternal consistency. But even then, it's still just it'll get things wrong directly just reading off the cards
It's because it can't read.
because it
It
can't
doesn't
read.
it doesn't read the way we read. It will see a set of characters and then look for the nearest thing which has roughly the same frequency of characters and react the way that you probabilistically will see a reacting series of characters for the input series of characters.
Yeah.
Like everything is just about frequencies. It's just about probability. There's the only thing these things are capable of doing. The machine does not have any perception of meaning as a concept, just frequency.
So that's it at this point. It's a toy and nothing more. It's
Yeah,
a fun way to
this is
kill like 10 minutes.
this is one of those novelty things, though, right? Like it looks like one of those novelties that we've seen a million times before that never really take off in an entertainment space, no matter how valuable the technology is. Like, for instance, if we narrow something like accelerometers, like so let's take the number of times we've seen VR deployed as an entertainment tool over the course of history has been a gajillion times, and it's never taken off. Even the most successful iterations that are currently on the market, you couldn't call them successful in terms of having like deep market penetration. They're still enthusiast only devices. But technologies that have come along with them, like accelerometers and the way they've been applied, have all sorts of technical applications that have branched off from them. But as a cohesive gestalt, you still don't have VR entertainment. It's not really a thing with market penetration. It's just a novelty, just a toy. And
Yeah.
I think that AIs are likely to be the same way for a long time yet. Like having sort of like handy and efficient high-speed heuristics for crunching large quantities of data, I think is something that the LLMs will be good at, and they will develop rapidly in that direction for just management of large strings of material. But in terms of being able to generate what a person could call verisimilitude, I don't think we're likely to see much advancement. And honestly, the advancement has slowed to a crawl. Like the things that people were saying about asking an AI to write a book in style of X like 5 years ago, they're still saying the same things now. They're not measurably better.
No.
You've also got the they have invested a whole. There's a lot of people that have invested a whole lot of money, put some gas behind AI as it is
A
right
lot of
now,
gas.
and all that needs to start seeing returns because the California lefty mindset is just throw money at it and that'll magically make it better.
Yeah.
Well, they
But
threw money at it. Now they've got warehouses full of expensive electronic equipment that they can't power because of the amount of raw energy required to put these server farms into use.
Yeah,
that's when they do turn them on, produce grey paste.
yeah, but where was I going with it? The money there has been invested by somebody that expects a return, and these AIs are not producing anything better than they were a year ago, and these people want to see their money back. They want to make profit.
Well, you say that, but you're assuming that what they want is a product. I don't think that's a safe assumption in the modern world. I think that there are going to be a lot of people who what they're actually planning on is riding the bubble of the perception that there will one day be a product.
Yes. But that
Possible.
bubble
Like
will pop.
if you get in on AI early and the stock becomes more and more valuable, and then you get out before people realize that this is actually not producing a product, you're still going to become incredibly wealthy. And this is how a lot of people make their money.
We saw that same phenomenon basically in a very sped up rate with NFTs.
Well, I mean, we've been seeing this play out again and again in the tech space. Does anybody remember the .com boom, or are we too old now?
We are too old. Yeah, nobody actually remembers that.
But it was the same phenomenon.
It was the same. A gold rush.
Yeah, I really
then
There's no
collapsed and-
product behind it though, because even if like the tech sector was exploding in size, just having a tech startup is not enough to make a product. However, it was the idea, the dream of the tech startup that was what people were selling. That was what people were getting money from investors for, and then getting out before it became apparent that there was no tech coming out of the tech startup.
Yeah, they took money and produced. Yeah, absolutely nothing.
They're selling dreams, just selling
Selling
dreams.
the dream.
And I think that that's what a lot of the AI investment is about. It's selling dreams. A certain
Yeah.
amount of it is for, creating autonomous drones to kill people, because that's how the US do. But
That is.
most of it, I think, is just selling dreams. Like, people are selling the potential of AI. They're not selling something that AI have ever actually managed to do before.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the pattern, what happened at CES this year? Do either of you know?
I tuned out completely of CES.
Okay,
Admittedly.
so CES was who should I start with? Who should I make fall on the sword first? I think the first big one was probably Intel. Intel got up and they didn't show up backside power or anything that people were looking forward to. They didn't show off a new desktop graphics solution. They didn't show off anything that people gave a toss about. They got up there and they talked about AI. AI. Okay, they gave an incredibly underwhelming, uninteresting CES keynote. They mentioned at one point that they're planning to launch a handheld gaming platform, but that was the only thing that they said about it. They then went back to talking about AI.
Yeah.
Then AMD had theirs, and rather than announcing anything of interest, they got up there and they talked about AI. And the only thing,
Microsoft's been the same.
Microsoft was a disaster because everybody hates Windows 11 and they don't know what to do. They're really panicking.
How about here's a solution? Stop.
They're not going to do that. That's
Yeah,
the one
they're
thing
not gonna
they
do
would never
that.
do.
Yeah, no,
But
they will never ever stop selling you crap with a bloatware-ridden, impossible to use, always spying on you OS. They can't go
Yeah,
back.
That's why Linux is booming right now.
the only thing that kept AMD and Intel from being the most terrible performances at CES was the fact that Jensen Huang rushed to their rescue, as he always does, in his leather jacket, to give
Of course.
a lengthy keynote of like, it's like, I can't remember, it was like 93 minutes or something of keynote speech, which was
Grief.
all burbling about AI. It was just AI. He got some robots to come on stage, and then he started speaking to them instead of the audience. And it was all AI stuff. He didn't talk about graphics or anything. Didn't talk about, the consumer market or video games or anything like that. He just burbled about AI, and did so in his usual inimitably cringy fashion. I don't know how Jensen Huang manages to do this crap with a straight face, but he is just raw distilled cringe when he gets on stage. He kept talking about how heavy the server racks he was trying to sell were, and how he needed to be in good shape to lift them. So obviously he wants to try and generate a little bit of investor confidence. He's not going to pop his clogs in 5 minutes. They talked about how in order they had to fill the container that they put the AI supercomputer in with water to ship it to CES, because that's if you're based in a drought-ridden area like California, what you need to do is get on stage and brag about how much water you shipped across the world. But yeah, basically the gist of it is that everybody was just endlessly burbling about AI. I forgot to mention, Jensen Huang managed to spend a good deal of time talking about their wonderful partnership with Palantir while he was up there. Because obviously, the
Obviously.
the thing that was abundantly clear is that every single one of them had forgotten where they were, which was at CES. Now tell me, what does CES stand for?
Not Consumer Electronics Show. That's clearly not what we're talking about. There are
No,
no
obviously
was-
not.
Nothing was mentioned for consumers. Like, we were in the middle of a massive sort of like pricing bubble for computer components, enthusiast components particularly, for the things that consumers want to buy, the new technologies consumers want. Like, the big one, of course, that people are always talking about is RAM. SSDs are coming up as well,
Yep.
and etc. But none of them talked about any of that. Instead, they got up and they showed off their new supercomputer racks that are multi-million dollars and fitted with terabytes of RAM to the consumers who
yeah,
can't buy RAM.
And ultimately, the consumers are dead tired of AI at this point. The only people who are interested in AI now are the big corporations who are looking to basically cut out money. Cut out.
Palantir.
Yeah.
It's Palantir, who wants to
It's
spy on the entirety of the world.
Yep. Or, turn all of their frontline workers into robots.
Why not both?
Why not both?
This is what the AI market is. The AI market is incredibly large corporations abandoning conventional consumer audiences in order to get huge quantities of money from large corporations who are getting that money from government grants. So you, the taxpayer, pay the government to pay Palantir, to pay Jensen Huang for a supercomputer so that you can have your AI slop.
Yeah.
That's what your taxes are for. Enjoy.
Enjoy the slop. I gotta try to remember how one of these puzzles up here works. So yeah, that's really about it for my weeks. I haven't done a whole lot. I've been working. Make it stop.
Work.
Work. But yeah, unfortunately, my folks are over in Vietnam at the moment for medical stuff. So yeah, I'm running everything on my own at the moment because it is cheaper to go to Vietnam than it is to get dental work done in Australia.
Yeah, that's famously, you don't. If you can find a reasonably reputable professional in not the Anglosphere, then go to not the Anglosphere to get the work done. It's like I had to spend probably at $7,000 to get my eyes fixed in New Zealand. It costs about 700 in India.
Wow. For the same procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting a bit ridiculous. Yeah. Like, we've got universal healthcare, and that will cover most things, but there are a few glaring exceptions.
Eventually, when you finally get to the front of the queue.
Eventually, yes. It takes a while.
If you survive. No guarantees.
I am convinced that universal healthcare and health insurance both are just some of the biggest scams of all time. They smoke and mirror crap so much and make everything in the Western world cost so much more for medical care. Like, if the doctors had to set their prices like reasonable people.
Yeah, no. No, you can't have that.
Can't have that. That would make sense. We can't run a multi-billion-dollar grift off of that. I'm gonna wind up as a guest on Candace Owens' show if I keep going.
Yeah, probably.
Paul got that joke.
I don't think you need that on your conscience.
No.
Unless you're really, really, really interested in Emmanuel Macron's wife.
No.
It sounds incredibly cringe.
Candace is the main character in her story, and she wants everybody to know it.
definitely cringe.
She's just got like garden variety Gotus, except that she's got a platform.
Yeah. Right. We should probably zip through the. 'Cause
Yep.
even though we started late, 2 hours already. So 2.5 hours already. Other games for the week. Fall. We were still on your week. With Wuwa.
Were we? No, you went back to Wuwa after I finished Wuwa.
Oh, right. So nothing really happened with Wuwa because we haven't played the main story that came out yet.
We haven't had time. We were too busy doing the Genshin one.
Yeah, we got Genshin's main story that came out, and that kind of ate us. Yeah. Oh, Fern, you need to get to 2.0 in Wuwa, and then you need to pull Cantarella. I mean Augusta.
Yeah.
Don't pull Cantarella. That would just make his life difficult. Like
It sounds like a trap.
Cantarella is a very good semi-support for a very small number of characters, and has incredibly distracting booba.
I see.
But Augusta, on the other hand, is an extremely good I've already given you chapter and verse on this in chat, but
Yes.
this is extremely good all-purpose DPS that is a very good foundation to build your account on, if you can scrape up the asteroid to get her.
Yeah. You'll need to patch Wuwa. I think I'm just about at chapter 2.0.
The thing with Augusta is that several of her best supports are just straight up free characters, so
Yeah, you can.
Well, that works.
You can literally make her work with anything. The damage. There's plenty of characters that can radically amplify the damage of her kit, but her base damage in her kit is just fine.
And you're definitely going to have, like, at a minimum, Bajir to keep her alive, and you'll definitely at some point pull Mortifi to be basically one of the best secondary DPS that she can possibly have, despite being a 4-star.
Yeah, Mortifi is just a decent slot filler as the sub DPS on a team where your main DPS does attack damage. Don't know who else to stick there. It just works. And I'm pretty sure Augusta is all heavy attacks all day, every day.
Yeah, most of her attacks translate into heavy damage, because most of her stuff, like her liberation and that, are stances rather than actual output.
Yeah, I resisted leveling Mortifi because he has a penis, but he just has a lot of value. That boy.
He has the power of science, is what he has.
He has the power of impermanence, Heron, is what he has, and he keeps accidentally staying as impermanence, Heron.
Huh. And here's something I just learned. Emily's floaty crystal thing does not activate pressure plates.
Well, it is floating.
Because it's floaty. But I thought
I'm pretty sure that
I'm
pretty sure I've got Noscofier's little floaty platter thing to activate them.
And also Oz, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never tried Oz.
Oz doesn't work, I don't think, but Guoba does.
Guoba definitely does. So yeah, some floaty things will press the pressure plates, others will not.
Notably, Guoba will not work when he's doing his little flip hop. You want more fire?
Yes.
Well, he will briefly work and then not work and then work and then not work and then work and then not work.
But if you land
him eventually activate.
If you land him dead center on the geo pressure plates in Leeway, it is just enough downtime to eventually turn it on.
Yeah, you're better off using Yao Yao in the Hellbeast,
which will also briefly turn off when it does the flip.
But it's a significantly shorter time period.
Yeah, it also flips way more times though.
Yeah, it does. It's more that it stops expanding. It doesn't actually recede under the Hellbeast.
Yeah, you're getting a free outfit in the Lantern Rite event that's coming out.
Yeah, Lantern Rite. That's not out yet either. So yeah, we're getting a Yao Yao story.
Yeah, I don't know that she'll get a story, but she's getting a new outfit and there'll be another free 4-star from Liyue.
Usually,
Oh yeah, here's the trailer for it.
Usually, when a character gets an outfit, they're at least included in the main story.
Oh, they'll put it in an appearance, but so does everybody in Liyue during Lantern Rite.
Yeah, it's kind of the Liyue holiday.
I'm pretty sure I saw her on listed as having a few lines.
Hey, guest appearance by Yaya, who buy her costume, except it's free. Get her costume. There's also the Nouvelette costume, which is not free.
I haven't done that quest. You did that one, didn't you, Ari?
Yeah, it's Melusines being autistic. I don't know what you were.
It's Melusines.
I don't know if you were expecting anything else from it.
No.
But
no, that's just Melusines being Melusines.
Yeah, like it's just Melusines doing Melusine things.
Well, the last premium skin that we had quite an elaborate quest, so I wasn't sure what magnitude they were planning on doing.
It is a fully voiced quest. It's not very long at all, but it's the Melusines being adorable.
Is it popped up telling me to do the Easy Breeze Resort again?
Oh, it's because they added the ability to do that quest chain even if you weren't present during summer.
Okay, and it looks like I had a couple of rewards in there I hadn't actually claimed. So, yeah, okay, that's why that's popped up.
I got a single 10 pull or a single 1 pull on the standard banner. It's gonna be Timu Sephiroth.
It's gonna be Timu Sephiroth. It always is.
Oh, it's gonna be. I don't even know what got Originite Type 4 gauntlets.
Grown.
Is there still no good punchy character?
Honey.
You know.
Eh.
But you know's like the highest DPS in the game right now.
Honey and Yuna are both. Yuna's. Yeah, I guess it makes. Yeah, she does, doesn't she? I don't know what weapon I thought she used, but there's no bows in the game, so.
There are no bows in this game, so she has to use something.
There is gun.
I mean, she's like, she doesn't use a sword. She doesn't use guns. Like, she doesn't wear shoes.
I mean, you would think Zani would use like broad blades or something. No, punchy weapon.
Punch.
No, the shield is part of her kit. It's not her weapon.
All right.
So, moving on games then. Since there's nothing really to talk about in Wuwa yet, because crap came out this week. Let's see here. Yakuza. I wanted to talk about this last week, but we were way over time. And I was kind of hoping Fern would be here for this anyway, because he's Yakuza.
But I got work hold.
Yep. So, before we get to 7, let's talk briefly about Judgment, because I finished it over the Christmas. Yakuza Judgment. The main story of Yakuza Judgment is incredible. Better than, not just for Yakuza Standard. It genuinely is an interesting mystery story with a bunch of really cool twists and turns that don't go so far in left field that you don't see them all coming. But if you're paying really close attention, but at the same time, it just executes everything in a mystery story exactly like you want it to, and it does it super well.
Does it feel like Yakuza?
Yeah, it's still, well, no, actually, the main story doesn't, but it's not supposed to. The Judgment games are a spinoff of the Yakuza series, so while they have the sub-stories and the minigame elements of the Yakuza series, the main story is told from perspective of Yagami, a private detective, instead of a member or ex-member of the Yakuza. So the structure of the main story is different, and it's told very noir style to fit the private detective theme. You get a lot of internal monologue unvoiced inside of Yagami's head, with him giving.
I still feel like I saw a lot of cabaret shenanigans.
There are still shenanigans. The main story is not devoid of Yakuza shenanigans. We do go and decide to first. Kaito gets the bright idea we need to get in this cabaret club somehow. okay, let's go ask the prosecutor who we go up against in the courtroom to go be a cabaret girl for an evening. That's obviously a
What?
bad idea. So our next best option is, hey Yagami, that law firm you used to work for that you still get a few jobs for occasionally, they got a receptionist. You know, the one that looks like she's going to kill everybody at any given moment. Let's get her to be a cabaret girl.
Oh, Yakuza.
And so
And it seems to end up working because she has a simp.
she does have a simp at the law firm, and they managed to get her all dressed up, and you actually get to drive Sayori in first person through the cabaret scenes to try and get the information. And you get her internal noir monologue the whole time, and it basically comes down to I hate everything about this.
And you blame her? I love you, Yakuza, but I also hate you sometimes.
Also, you play as a functional alcoholic.
Also that.
Yeah, it's literally a talent you can get. But yeah, Judgment. Some of the mini games, like the new dice mini game, overstay their welcome a bit, but otherwise, it's pretty good time throughout.
You wanted all of the money so that you could make a robot pigeon.
Yeah, if you try to do the drone racing, and upgrade Pigeon all the way. Pigeon costs quite a bit of money if you want to get all the frames and stuff for completion. And I did do full completion in Judgment. So that's all Chivos and completion list. Yagami has a drone, and it has a paper mache pigeon head on it, and he calls it Pigeon.
Right. That's Yakuza, actually.
Yeah. So the Yakuza isms of the everything are still there. It's just the main story is way more focused on telling its actual story than leaning exclusively on the sillyisms. Like Yakuza 7 is big on the sillyisms. Even though its main story isn't the point, it leans really heavy on them. Whereas they are just silly moments in the Judgment story. So I thought it worked really well. I liked it a lot. I liked the sub stories in it. The poor girl that keeps accidentally getting involved with the pervert trio and the pervert emperor and his scrotum totem.
What?
Sent you a picture of this.
Yeah.
Did you send me a picture of that, or did my brain just block it out?
Hang on, I'll elucidate.
You need to.
Yes.
Does Fern just really need to bask in his...
Do I? Do I really?
If you
I
ask,
don't think I do.
If you ask him, by him I mean the emperor, the answer is definitely yes. You must bask in the glory of the scrotum totem.
No. No, I must not.
It's really funny because the way they censor it, because you do have to eventually fight him, is he just turns around and he has the biggest fig leaf of all time.
Oh, that is a horrible scene. Oh my. I thought Mr. Masochist was bad, but that's disturbing.
Oh no, Mr. Masochist got nothing on Giant Impact.
I also saw a guy crawling around on a building like a cockroach.
He was the last of the original pervert trio. So the sub stories are silly, but the sub stories are relatively always silly. They've relegated.
I saw you running around chasing a flying wig.
Yeah, that happened too. Happens multiple times, in fact, and at multiple points in the story, this sub story will crop up, and this guy will lose his wig again, and you have to go chase it down. So,
plot.
No, just because this guy's an idiot.
Ah.
It lands on another Yakuza's head, and you have to beat up the Yakuza and explain that both of their wigs flew off simultaneously. And this is all a big misunderstanding. And but it's okay because the original dude doesn't need his wig anymore because he has a single curly strand of hair that is magically grown out of his head.
So yeah, Yakuza.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
this, there's still all that there. It just tells a really good main story, and Yagami is a really good protagonist. Like, there's a reason everybody likes Yagami. Like, he's just a really, really good protagonist.
I think like I played also the opening chapters of Pirate Yakuza. I haven't gotten too far into it, but it's kind of like the complete mirror of that
Yeah,
because
well,
it's Majima.
yeah, it's going to be all silly. It's also a Gaiden game, which means it's shorter.
It is shorter, but yeah, it is incredibly silly.
Yeah.
And the fourth wall means nothing.
Yeah. So I started to play the second Judgment game, but as I booted it up, Ibu sent me a message. He's like, you got to play Yakuza 7 first if you're going in chronological order, because stuff in 7 radically alters the structure of Kamurocho. You're not at that point yet, Fern.
Yep.
It's literally right after the Majima and fight you're on.
Yeah. Which I think the Majima fight you have to try and cheese just a little bit.
Oh no, he's just a huge difficulty step up. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason they introduced the battle arena to you right before you fight him.
Yippee. Yippee.
Yeah. So yeah, Judgment gets a solid recommendation. I do not recommend completing it. The drone racing requires a lot of money to fill out, and the races are quite hard on the hardest difficulty, and you have to come in first place in every race of the championship league, which is every single track, back to back. You can save between them, but that's not much condolence. You have to fly those perfectly every single time with the absolute best equipment. So good luck with that. Use the DLC frames if you do, because otherwise you have absolutely zero margin for error. You at least can bump a wall once with the DLC frames. But yeah, definitely worth playing the first Judgment game. The only whole caveat with it is combat. They are still figuring out Dragon Ninja combat for real-time combat. And notably, you have Tiger Stance and you have Crane Stance. So you would think, oh, I got 2 combat systems for a whole bunch of different scenarios. No. That is not at all how this works. What you have is Tiger Stance and you can switch to Crane Stance if you want, and you really just want to do the one good AoE heat move in EX mode to take down a group of guys, and that's it. Everything else is Tiger Stance. All the upgrades are for Tiger Stance. Like, Crane has like 1 upgrade, and Tiger has like 25. Maybe it might even be more than that. So effectively, you only have Tiger Stance. And what's funny is it feels like Crane Stance was a last-minute addition because it felt more in line with Yagami's character, being that he is not exactly a powerhouse type character, as the Tiger moveset implies. The weird mix of Muay Thai and Taekwondo that is Crane Stance feels more in line with Yagami's body type and build. Like, the dude is not a power puncher. But he's got really long legs and got mad ups because he has to climb all over stuff for his job.
And an iron liver.
Only if you upgrade it.
But that alcoholism as a skill is somewhat concerning.
Most of the Yakuza games have a skill where you upgrade your alcohol tolerance in some way, although most of them don't call it borderline alcoholic when you max it out.
They just stop trying to hide it at that point, do they?
Yeah. Not actually a very good skill either. It doesn't do nearly as much as it implies it does. Yeah. So this also means that the game was designed around Tiger Stance because we are still in the era of guard bounce, where they have not figured out quite how to make the Dragon Engine work with real-time combat yet. They've gotten most of the way there, but they still are hung up on having enemies with guard bounce for whatever reason. And Tiger Stance seems designed specifically to fix this problem. In that all of its normal attacks hit twice, so even if you get bounced, an attack will still go through, and then you can continue afterwards. Or it just straight up has charged attacks that penetrate guards. Or the OP as crap Flux Fisher where you press and hold the light attack button and then release it at a certain point after making contact, and you'll blast the enemy across the arena and get a massive amount of your heat gauge back for free. It can do this just whenever with no conditions. Some enemies are immune to Flux Fissure. Bosses, most notably, after they get hit by it once, won't get hit by it again. And so the combat system was clearly designed around Tiger. Notably, the super boss for doing all the sub stories is one of the Amon clan, Shin Amon, because you got to have a new Amon now that Kiryu's. Apparently, they wanted Joe to just be Kiryu's Amon that he fights. So Joe Amon is Kiryu's. And now that it's other protagonists, they're all fighting Shin Amon. And Shin Amon has apparently learned a few tricks from Papa Amon, and that at the start of the super boss fight, the very first thing he does is an unbreakable grab that steals your phone. Your phone is your pause menu.
That's cheating.
Your phone is your item menu.
Cheating.
And he's also immune to all DLC effects and items.
Because they're through the phone as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're items used on the phone. But even if you equip them and you're one of your 3 equip slots you're allowed, he takes no damage from them. He just says no.
He just says no. I love it.
You're gonna fight him straight up and like it. And his fight has so many graphical effects going on. It was apparently infamous for melting PS4s back in the day. Like, it would go down to single-digit frames per second because they just crammed too many spell effects on that.
So the only one who's allowed to use cheese in that fight is him.
Oh yeah, he's whipping out laser swords and rockets and drones and explosions and exploding nunchucks. Like he's an Amon. He has all the silly bullcrap. And you fight him by being just him starting a subquest or a commission with Yagami and posting it in his office to come duel him. And Yagami just shows up. He's like, "Those aren't allowed in Japan, you idiot. I'm leaving." Like, allow me to revise. And he auto fails the subquest for you, and then just shoves a new one into your log that is just defend yourself from Shinamon, who's now actively just attacking you. And he teleports you to a castle in the sky with a big electric cage around it to do battle with.
Why not?
With him, because that's the Amons.
Because reasons.
They sit on the fourth wall pretty dang hard. Like, they are clearly aware it's there. I think they're the only characters to directly address the player at a given point. So,
that's disturbing.
So that was a good time, and at least doing a sub-story completion is worth it just to see the Amon fight. And it has a really big, the dumbest power of friendship moment of all time for this penultimate sub-story, the one that isn't just fighting the Amon. In lieu of a bunch of the sub-stories in these games that wind up just being go deliver something to somebody or go talk to a dude, they have instead allocated these to friend quests, and there are 50 friends you can make in the city. Some of them are just buy enough crap from my store and go through enough dialogues. Some of them are some idiot Yakuza really want Dango from this one dude's shop and are gonna keep showing up until they get it. And you have to send them packing over and over again.
Just give me his damn Dango.
Yeah, the little brother is very emphatic about how this should be done, but the Yakuza guy just doesn't really care so long as he gets his Dango.
Yeah. I don't even remember what food he was selling, but he really wanted it.
No, it was actually traditional confectionery.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that was those are good, and I'm glad they've set those aside as something separate. So if you pick up a side quest, you're in for something a bit meatier. And in general, the game is much better about its side quests being all meaty if they're labeled as a side case. That's what they're called, not sub stories, but side case. And some of them will chain into each other and have sequels, but they all expect you to set aside at least so they're fairly chunky, but they're a good time.
And then sometimes you dress as a vampire.
Yeah, sometimes you get.
Which game was that? I can't even remember what the two blur together now.
That was Judgment. That was Judgment.
Okay.
There's a dude who is in hot water for some crimes he committed as a member of a biker gang, but now he's a rock star and a celebrity, and the media wants to interview him. And so to distract
why not?
the media, he hires Yagami to wear his vampire costume and and distract the media, and you wind up being unable to escape them in the vampire costume, and wind up just like going, okay, I'll make amends, and you offer a whole bunch of things, and the only thing they'll settle for is doing community service. So you have now roped this guy into doing community service, which he does with Hamtastic vampire lines. And you get to keep the vampire costume. Because why not?
Because why not?
Yeah. So the Yakuza is very still there. Just the main story is pretty well serious the whole way, barring a few asides of some silly what moments. And none of them reach the levels of Yagami's putting on the vampire costume. Even the cabaret stuff was still in line with what could happen, and was in service of, okay, I guess this is what we gotta do, even if Kaito's an idiot. So yeah. And that brings me to the end of that one. Started to play Judgment, was told, no, you gotta play 7 first. Okay, we'll go play 7. So I started chewing through Yakuza 7. I had played Yakuza 7 before, but only got to around chapter 6, I think, on PlayStation. So I just started over. I didn't remember anything that happened.
The story doesn't really get its legs under it properly until a bit after chapter 6.
Yeah. Well, even then, like I think the main story is fine in Yakuza 6. It's not as good as 0 or Judgment, which are the two best that I've played so far, in terms of main stories. But it is up there on the upper end for the other ones.
Yeah.
This is the game where we have just started leaning into the silly. And it has a lot of bleed over into both the main story, and there are a few grounded sub stories and side cases in Judgment about.
And then there's the pornographero.
Yeah, but
there's the pornographero. I found him on a random encounter just on a street.
Yeah, the pornographero exists.
You just don't expect the pornographero.
No, I'm not sure what I expected, but that wasn't it.
It wasn't that. And he takes so freaking long to die.
Yeah, if you don't have electricity, he's not going down anytime this century.
I did not have electricity going to that fight, so I had to beat him down the hard way.
Yeah. Just by the way, do the the business management story.
Yeah. There is one optional character, and it's through the business manager story.
It's more than that. You get a bonus heat action that's always available for Ichiban that does electric damage.
That's good to know.
And hits all enemies.
That's not the one where he just throws money at people, is it?
No, that's the one where Essence of Orbital Laser.
Because why not?
Yeah.
I mean, Infinite Wealth has Essence of Big Ass Birds, so why not?
Yeah. I'm trying to go through these stories unspoiled and go through them in chronological order. So I've not played anything that comes after any point that I'm caught up to.
Mm-hmm.
So Infinite Wealth,
Man
Who Erased His Name, and Pirate Yakuza, I haven't touched, and Lost Judgment, I haven't touched.
Lost Judgment, yeah. I haven't played anything. I've just beyond that. It's just been 7 and the opening chapter of Pirate Yakuza, which I don't think. I'm not sure where that fits in yet.
Yeah, it's the latest one. It's after Infinite Wealth.
Where does Young Ye fit in?
He doesn't, because we don't play in English.
Yeah. Yakuza 7, the English voice acting is serviceable. It's fine.
So this was a thing. I didn't even try the English voice acting in 7 after experiencing what happened in Judgment. because you're
Yep.
getting a different story in both. The script is terrible in Judgment in the rewrites, the rewrite department, and it's so noticeable because when you put it in Japanese, they have a much more traditional subtitle translation. It will literally show different words at the bottom of the screen that better fit what's being said. And in English,
That's jarring.
and they do this in 7 as well.
Right.
Like, and from what I've heard, the story just gets butchered if you play 7 in English. Like, it's even worse than Judgment was. Judgment had a performance, didn't have any bad performances. All the performances were fine. The problem was the script. And for some godforsaken reason, they decided to just rewrite the whole dang thing.
I think that was really happening at the height of localizers screwing with stuff.
Yeah, and the subtitles on screen in game will literally change when you switch the languages, and the Japanese one is so much better.
Damn, now I have to go back and change it.
Yeah, like 7, Judgment, and Lost Judgment all fall victim to probably Infinite Wealth as well.
Probably.
But yeah, and you just whenever a classic character shows up, not hearing their OG voice is it would feel wrong.
Weird.
Like I expect Majima to have a certain voice.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Yakuza 7 actually its main story, if you just were to blow through the main story, if you could do that, has a pretty decent clip to it. The main issue I have with Yakuza 7, as I've said before, is entirely around its gameplay. And that is a bog standard turn-based RPG with negative depth.
It is push button, hit the thing, next turn.
You have it's 4 types of attacks.
4 types.
You have blunt, represented by a fist, gun, which is represented by a gun, blade, which is represented by a blade, and magic, which is represented by a stick. And they may or may not have a modifier additionally of lightning, fire, or ice. This hitting a weakness on an enemy does not do anything for you except make it take more damage. The problem comes when so many enemies are so resistant to anything they're not weak to. Looking at you, Majima, and how you have to hit that boy with fire or he takes freaking chip damage. It just becomes an element check on a lot of things at the casual playthrough. The other problem with it is there's no way to speed up the combat at all.
Nope.
There is no turbo mode, and you can skip heat actions if you've unlocked them, but you're not going to do those to try and kill everything because it's still not the fastest way. The fastest way is to hit stuff with an AoE move, but AoE moves are so rare that dealing with trash in this game is a chore. Like, there are just a lot of growing pains, switch genres here that are very simple JRPG mistakes that have been solved for decades now.
Yeah, like once you get Jungi Han in his basic job on your team, he'll never leave because he gets one of the best AoEs going.
Yeah, Divine Bullet's great and all. I played on hard mode too. This game doesn't do a difficulty selection. I looked for a hard mode and couldn't do it. I was thinking Judgment.
It doesn't do hard mode, no.
Yeah. So it's all just a scaled grind, and you're gonna notice right away, like, you shouldn't fight Majima until you're level 50.
Yeah, I'm not level 50, and I'm fighting Majima.
Yeah, like the dude will straight. Have you got to phase 2 of the fight yet?
Oh yeah.
Have you
got
phase 2? Have you got to phase 3 of the fight yet?
Yes.
Where they both go into heat mode.
They both go into heat mode.
And they will target Ichiban with an attack that you cannot block or dodge that does a colossal amount of damage.
Basically, if Ichiban is not at full health when they do that attack, you're done.
Yeah, and if Ichiban dies, where in JRPG protagonist dies, you reload your last save territory.
Yes. The protagonist dies, you lose.
And yeah, the difficulty spike is only going to continue from here. You need to go just do the grind in Sotenbori Battle Arena. Go through that thing
The
a few
battle
times.
arena gets boring.
Yeah, it's boring, but it's the fastest way to get what you need, because you will need to be about level 60 by the time you beat the game.
Yeah. Like the other option is you can go down into the sewers. There's some platinum Sukamon running around in there, basically.
They are less efficient
But
than the battle
There's
arena
a
right now.
pornographero down there.
There is a pornographero down there. But yeah, that's the early way grind. Once you get the battle tower, you do the battle tower.
Yeah, it's only 20 floors in the battle arena, and the enemies there give a disproportionate amount of EXP for what they are and their levels. And you can also get some nice upgrade materials in there, upgrading your weapon back at.
Yeah, the item upgrades you get in there are pretty good for that point in the game.
Yeah, well, more than just the raw gear itself, you'll get materials you can take back to the workshop to upgrade your weapon for EX tiers.
Yep.
And those help tremendously in making things less of a pain.
Gotta go fight the red tiger.
Yeah. So I ground in there until I had enough. I was mostly looking for weapon materials because I managed to get everybody to around level 50 by the time I got my weapons in a good place for everybody's job, and I was just using thing. But
yeah,
if you really want to make your life easier, like a lot easier, for all the boys in your party, go have them level up host until they hit level 10. Go level up fortune teller to level 18, and go level up foreman until whenever they get dynamite throw, the one that stays between job changes. It'll give you an attack of every element.
Yep.
And the girls, you want them to level the BDSM job until they get access to fire, or the candlestick move.
Yeah. What's
In
that
isolation, that's a very strange phrase.
Yeah. Even with context, it's still a very strange phrase.
Neither of the two girls would ever do anything related to BDSM in it, but they can change their job to Night Queen.
There. Yeah, so they can get out the whips and leathers, but neither of them actually would. It's completely out of character for both of them.
Yeah, but that candlestick move. I like how the candlestick move, when you use it off class, is just Psycho thought some candles would smell nice. And just waves it around and makes magical fire appear.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the girls actually can't get a universal lightning move.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're limited to anything that's lightning weak, and unfortunately, this relegates them to the role of support for most fights in the final dungeon, or rather, the true final dungeon, which is just the post-game bonus dungeon again, but at level 99.
Just harder.
Just way harder. You're going to be killing hobos in the sewers for a while to do it.
Yeah. The girls, as a trade-off, though, get access to Idol, though, which is probably the best support class.
Yeah, Aerie can be a competent DPS, the girl from business management, if you get her bond leveled up, because her weapon, as the clerk, has the incredible passive that everybody that's ever played Cyber Sleuth knows is busted, and every JRPG developer should know by now, never ever to give to a character, ignores defense.
Yeah.
As soon as you get her weapon to max rank, her little knife just ignores defense.
Yeah, considering for most of the game she'll be running around with a box cutter.
Yeah, once you get that thing upgraded all the way, it ignores defense. And this makes her hit like a tanker truck.
That's kind of broken.
Yeah. And you level up her bond, you get Essence of Telephone Nunchaku that hits all enemies.
That's a move.
I will elucidate. Essence of Telephone Nunchaku.
Is it? I expect I know what it is, and if it's exactly what I'm thinking of, it won't be disappointing.
Let me come through this one.
find a good one.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll dump it in live show chat. Yeah, hits all enemies, and if you use her weapon, it ignores defense. So it makes her the go-to for farming crap. Problem that I've run into in the game is when you are just farming crap, is if you're not leveling up, you're out of MP all the time.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I thought it would be. So yeah, a lot of the caster style, the wizard style jobs will have the passive on their basic attack to recover MP, but that doesn't help when you're not one of those jobs.
Yeah, and even then, it's not enough MP to offset the cost of the level of move you got to use. Game. A whole lot of gameplay shoes like that going through it. I did not do full completion in this.
Well, full completion would involve doing mahjong again.
Well, I'd actually be okay with that part. The problem I didn't want to do was like leveling up all jobs to max.
Yeah, that's a grind.
Yeah. Considering jobs level at about 1/3 the speed of your character level.
Yeah.
You already
take you forever.
You have to get your main job up to 99, and I got the other jobs up to 30, which is the point where it slows down, and that makes me let me have access to all skills in the game going into Final Millennium Tower. And I said, good enough. I could have pushed harder and was barely at the line of stats I needed to take on the true Final Millennium Tower. The other reason I didn't go for true completion is because they have just uprooted Kamurocho from Judgment and plunked it in Yakuza 7 at the very tail end of the game. And Sotenbori has been lifted, its map layout from 0 anyway, even though it's been remade in the Dragon Engine. And these two places all have just repeats of a bunch of the same minigames, especially Kamurocho and Ijensho. Where most of the game takes place. And this means you would have to do all the minigames twice. And while I'm down for Mahjong, I'm not down for sitting through 2-3 casinos of poker.
No.
Like,
it gets boring real quick.
I may be okay with doing Koi Koi a few times. I'm not down for Ochikubo a few times.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
Honestly, also the business minigame kind of outstays its welcome a bit.
Yeah, it's also the way to make money though in the middle in the early mid game. Because if you
kind of have to do it.
If you level that thing up to max immediately, as soon as you get it, not only do you get Aerie, not only do you get her bond maxed for bonus heat actions, not only do you get Essence of Orbital Laser for AoE electric damage on Ichiban, you also have, for every 3 minutes of work, you can just go get 3 million yen whenever you want.
Which would save time later.
Yes.
Significantly.
Which saves a significant amount of time with how much crap you have to buy in this game.
Yeah, because the amount of money you actually make outside of the business minigame it's not great.
No.
Compared to what you need to buy.
No. There are a few part-time hero rewards that give you a few million, like clearing the Sotenbori Battle Arena. The
cats.
Yeah, cats. The Sotenbori Battle Arena will give you like 2 million for clearing the floors 26 to 30. But the business minigame is no effort, 3 minutes of work, 3 million just whenever you need it. And it will give you 3 million consistently if you can clear the hardest difficulty every single time. And by the time you get there and have that thing, getting your buildings to consistently be green is not hard, and you just gotta yell at the sheriff. So that's the lead up for the early mid game. At the point you're at, you've just hit a difficulty bump.
Like probably a really, really big one.
Yeah, Majima and Saejima are just leagues stronger than any of the mooks you fought up until now. Like, even the name mooks don't hold candle to those two because, well, they're Yakuza legends. And
Yeah.
they certainly hit like it, and they have the resistance to back it up. Majima is also the first enemy where if you don't have his weakness, you're screwed.
Yes, because you are going to do piddling amounts of damage.
Yeah, you need to hit him with fire.
Yeah, like Namba will come back or come into the story a bit before that fight, and when he shows back up again, he's got a few upgrades, big fire moves. So you're going to need him. But the problem is if you don't grind other jobs with Namba and stick with his base Hobomancer, he has the hit points of a wet sock. He just falls over.
There is no saving Namba. He always has the hit points of a wet sock.
He is the squish. He is the squishy wizard. Even if he is a hobo.
So once you get over that fight, just getting to level 50 will be fine. You can try to get a few job ranks on the girls to get them Night Queen up to the candle move while you're at it, and drag them through the battle arena. If you max their bond, they get full experience even party.
Yep.
So you can do that.
Which means you still have to grind the business minigame, because that's how you unlock Ares Bond.
Yeah.
She's the only character with a different bond mechanic.
Yeah. And, well, yeah. The game kind of just assumes you're doing the business minigame because it's one of the features. And it does lean really hard on it. So yeah. And the other thing I noticed about the game, stat debuffs just don't matter.
I've noticed that.
Stat buffs and debuffs
Buffs matter.
They don't matter that much. Like, I saw maybe a 5 to 10% increase.
Yeah, I think it is. It's only about 5-10%. It's not that much.
Yeah, it's totally useless. Yeah, but even then, it doesn't matter because they last for so little, and you have to waste the whole turn to do them.
Yeah, there's a few moves that actually make a difference, but
like,
it's not really worth it.
Even Ichiban's biggest AOE double attack up buff, still 5-10%.
Yeah,
like
I think
it sounds good on paper, but it's awful.
Yeah, I think the only defensive buff that is really worth going out of your way for is Mr. Masochist.
That's not so much a buff as a special effect.
Yeah, true.
And he costs money and has a once per fight limit with a cooldown of multiple fights between.
And he's just disturbing.
He is also required for the true Final Millennium Tower.
Yes.
Because the final boss will use... because the Amon shtick is they can copy dude. He copies Ichiban's Essence of Orbital Laser at the start of Phase 4, and you cannot skip Phase 4. And this will just straight up one-shot you.
Oh. So you need to go into that fight with Mr. Masochist active.
No.
Or into that phase.
You have him available, and when you get him to 30%, you... because he transitions to 25, you pop Mr. Masochist, and then have everybody blow everything to burn him down, and have the phase transition happen while Mr. Masochist's buff is still up. Because then he will summon clones of Saejima, Majima, and spoilers come beat on you alongside him that have their entire full movesets.
So in typical Amon fashion, he cheats.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he is a rough final boss. I got him first try, but it was by the skin of my teeth, and I did look him up ahead of time because I know what Amons are like.
You saw him coming and just noped.
Amons always have a mechanic where you can't burn them down, and usually this manifests as a shield, and you need to know how to break the shield. Like in 6, it was throwing Roombas at him.
What?
Summons little exploding Roombas, and at a certain point in their runaround cycle, they're grabbable, and you can pick them up and chuck them at him. In Judgment, he will put a shield up of a corresponding color, blue or red, and you have to do a wall bounce attack with a move from the stance that corresponds to the opposite color. So if he has a blue shield, you have to do a wall bounce attack or a wall kick attack while in tiger stance, and vice versa. But the problem is he does bonus damage to you when you're in the opposite stance. So you have to bust it when you got a clear opening and can do it fast.
Right.
And then switch back. So yeah, and there is just no getting around Majima and Saejima just being a huge stat wall that they force you go grind for no real good reason for. And
Yeah,
you'll
it's
you'll
mostly, I think, just because they're Yakuza legends,
yeah,
so they wanted them to be a notably challenging fight.
you'll probably want to be even a little higher and bring ice moves to the fight in next chapter.
Hmm.
Because that boss doesn't take any damage from anything other than ice.
Just go and do ice.
Yeah. So you'll need fire for Majima. I think Saijima's weak to electricity.
No, I think he's ice.
Okay, he might be ice.
Majima's fire, I think Saijima's ice.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Saijima's weakness switches for Final Millennium Tower.
Right.
Because I guess they wanted the clones of the final boss that he summons them to have all different weaknesses to really screw you up.
So they changed Saijima to and let spoiler character be ice.
Yeah.
Right.
So go. The hostess move for all the boys at level 10 will get you an ice move. That's not great, but it works. And the girls get one very deep into the hostess. The ice shatter move is they have to go way deeper into hostess than the boys do get an ice move. And you got to be sure it's the right version that crosses over between. You're looking at the skill trees. So yeah, that's where you're at. I enjoyed the main story. It did have a lot of caveats that it had to stick in because we're in a typical JRPG. We have a party, and it has to accommodate a Yakuza story with a party. And they used this to okay effect a couple times where they leverage it, but there are other times where it clearly just is in the way, and they have to come up with contrivances to get Ichiban alone. That just don't make a whole lot of sense. But in the overall picture, those aren't too bad. Most of the main storytelling is fine. It's just all these RPG mechanics from a very bare bones basic JRPG that do not feel good to play.
Yeah.
Like,
The combat really does wear pretty thin very quickly.
Yeah, like
it never changes from the start of the game.
No. Like the stats just get tighter.
Yeah, and elements become more important, and that's it.
So yeah.
Yeah, you're still doing the same thing at the start of the game as you are at the end of the game.
Yeah. So that's where I sit with Yakuza 7. I do recommend playing through the main story if you can handle the stat bump at the point Fern's at, and there'll be one more smaller one right afterwards, but there's another sewer in Kamurocho with better hobos for grinding. And you go kill like 2 of them and you're good to go.
What constitutes a superior hobo?
This hobo is level 50.
Better loot.
Well, this hobo is level 50 and gives way more experience. The hobos are level 50 enemies in the Kamurocho sewers that take almost no damage from every hit, but have very low HP. They're metal slimes. So you want
metal slimes, yeah.
you want attacks that multi-hit, or later you can do moves that crit that can bypass the defense. But yeah, you kill them and you just get a brilliant experience.
What are they called?
Invested hobos.
Invested hobos. Okay. The smaller ones earlier on, I think, was something like Greater Vagabond or something like that.
I think those are just the elite regular hobo.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what are your thoughts so far on Yakuza 7?
I'm enjoying it. The story. It is like, I know I've been playing it in English, so it is a bit bastardized, but it's a solid story. Nothing crazy. It's fun characters and fun minigames, but just the combat. The combat.
Yeah, and I think there is a point where you get more and more likely jaded with turn-based combat the more of them you play. And if you have a personality type that isn't into the building as much as the execution, like once you turn-based combat, I used to really enjoy. I used to love turn-based games to death, and still like plenty of them that have turn-based combat in them. But the turn-based combat itself is never what sells me on what it is. It's just I've done this, and I know what tropes to look out for. And while I may not have it solved for that particular game, I'm at such a jump start that it always feels like a bit of a slog. And really just hope that the game gives me something that can expedite the process. Because all I really want that a turn-based RPG can do that better than an action game can consist is give me really, really cool big set piece boss moments. They have a lot more
Yes.
opportunity to do that. And as long as it doesn't gimp itself by letting me overgrind or having me accidentally overgrind just by doing all the side quests, it'll be fine. But force grinds that are just raw stat walls, incredibly basic RPG mechanics that I've done to death by this point. No, not fam. Ain't here for that.
Yeah.
You have
So yeah,
numbers.
it's a good game, but it's also a deeply flawed one from a gameplay point of view.
Yeah. So not totally useless, worth your time, but it does have it comes with asterisks.
Yes. Have to look into Infinite Wealth and see if they addressed it. If it gets any better, or are you just better off just watching a playthrough on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm really at that point after going through 7. Like, I've seen enough of that combat system that if Infinite Wealth doesn't radically improve it, I may just go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Anything else? Because did you move on to the next Yakuza game?
No, we're on a break from Yakuza game.
All right.
I played Judgment 7 and 6 back to back now, or 6 Judgment
Oh yeah,
7.
That's probably a bit too much, Yakuza.
And I completed Judgment, and I full chivoed 7. So we're on a Yakuza break, for at least a few months, before I jump into Lost Judgment. I am really excited to try Lost Judgment because I like the first one so much. But for now, the new Trails game just came out. This is the one furthest in the chronology of the ones that are released. This is the latest one that's not a remake or anything, because Falcom started making the Sky remakes. Presumably, part of the idea here was to let us get caught up, and so we have a gap anymore. And the Sky remakes have been simultaneous release. Even if it is Nisa at their most Nisa doing the localization here. But since I don't have the option of seeing the unlocalized text in subtitles in the game, I just gotta grin and bear it. And the performances aren't a problem, so I'm continuing the Trail series in English. Yeah. But I wanna keep going. I've stuck with this universe through literally every game it's put out, and I wanna go on with it and see where we're getting.
Pat all the girls.
Well, Reen does. Reen is the notorious head patter. Van has a couple of head pats, but he's not a serial head patter like Reen is.
Yeah. Oh, what have I wandered into here?
Van,
So I'm just running around Nogcry doing random quests, and I just found 2 colossal autists.
find a lot of those.
Yeah, these are the ones with the big robot.
Oh, that quest. Yeah.
Yeah.
That quest is. It's a quest.
It's certainly a quest.
Have you found?
It's definitely a quest.
Have you found out that jellyfish don't have brains?
I have not yet. I did just find out that Traveler apparently has lovely plumage.
You need to make friends with Bobik.
I think the Burbic is the
Bobik is-
smartest of these three. Bobik is certainly the most socially aware of these three.
Yes, indeed. Right. So once you finish 7, you're getting close to the home stretch.
Yep.
After you beat Majima and Saejima, you've got one more wall boss fight that's going to be element locked. Then the real final boss is just a sack of hit points. You do not need a specific element, I don't think. I don't recall if he's... But...
They do the thing where in the JRPGs where it is more set piece than battle.
I have somehow activated autopilot mode. Yeah, he's just a really fat sack of hit points. There'll be a post final boss after the sack of hit points. Yeah, the last boss just has a chunk of HP, so you don't have to worry about elements for him. But you will need ice for the next boss, and you will need fire for much.
Yeah. So I might as well, while I'm grinding levels, go and do the unlocks for the various jobs.
Yeah, just go get the bond levels you need. If you can grind up bond level the hard way or the easy way. The easy way being you just buy a whole you go do the business minigame a few times, and then you go buy a mess of roses, lilies, whatever the other third flower is, and bonsai trees, and figure out what each character likes and stuff it down their throat.
Yeah. Like, I haven't had any issues stacking up bonds yet.
You should have everybody be able to max out everybody at the point you're at.
Yeah.
And Aerie doesn't. You don't need to shove flowers down her throat.
You just make money. All right, that's Yakuza then.
I'll be interested to see your final thoughts when you finally get past that in-game grind there.
Yeah, I might. I've got to find time to actually poke my head out of the work hole and do some gaming. So once I do that, I'll be able to get back in and get going. Because at that point, when Majima turns up, he pops up out of nowhere. You don't really expect him to be there.
Yeah, no,
it makes sense that he's there, but he's just there.
Well, at the point you're at, it almost doesn't make sense why he's there yet.
Yeah,
because he's a member of the Tojo. You don't have that.
He's a member of the Tojo.
You're in Omi HQ. Why is he protecting Omi HQ?
Yeah, presumably he won't tell you until after you beat him up.
That do be how Majima works. Yes.
Yes, and even then, it's dubious because again, Majima.
You also get a summon to summon Majima after that fight. It costs 1,000,000 yen per summon.
What does it do?
A colossal amount of damage with a chance to paralyze.
No, what does it do?
Oh. It's just Majima aura farming and jumping off the side of the Millennium Tower. And
the Millennium Tower is just there when you need it?
Yeah, and he brings down a rain of his signature daggers with him that are all electrified, and they land and explode around the enemy.
And he just carries a Millennium Tower around with him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Korean actor guy, I forget his name, he carries a blizzard around with him, so why not?
Yeah, he's been a running sub-story character in a bunch of the Yakuza games where he just gets into issues that Kiryu's bailed him out of.
Yeah. So when Ichiban finds him, he's a washed-up has-been.
Yeah. He used to be somebody, man, back when Kiryu knew him.
Yeah, not anymore. He's a bum on a bench when you find him. Yeah, it is still definitely worth going and doing all the side quests because they are a lot of fun.
Maybe not
Some
the
of them get
one.
very, very silly.
The only one where I was like, "Is this really a side quest?" Is there's one I think it's one of the last quests to unlock. You just find a dude sitting there with a ticker next to the main road, trying to use it to count people,
Okay, I haven't found that one yet.
and you just have to sit there and count people.
You know, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it does have one funny
Money.
one, but the other ones are just total time wasters.
Yeah, and then you've got on the other end of the spectrum the the super spicy kimchi quest,
Oh yeah,
which is just incredibly stupid.
yeah, and you got the bubble dude, done the bubble
I haven't done the bubble dude, I think.
dude in the Blacklight district who's just in bubbles
Oh yeah, him. Yeah,
pretty early.
he has some
Pops up.
very persistent bubbles.
Well, only if you can steer him around the various sources of water threatening to wash away his bubbles and get him arrested for public indecency.
Yes, and for some reason everybody in Kamurocho suddenly decided that now is the day to water the concrete.
There's a dude with a fire hydrant going, like, at the very end of it. I don't know if you noticed it.
Uh, yeah, I thought I was thinking I remember some firefighters or something there. If there was someone doing something weird with a fire hydrant, though, I missed that.
A bunch of firefighters confused why the hydrant is going now of all times.
Oh yeah. No, I only quickly looked at that because it's just a bunch of firefighters standing around. So yeah, that's a quest. That one. It's not a hard quest, but it's a very dumb quest.
Most of the sub-stories are like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah. So you'll have to report back to me when you get to the end, or if you get stuck, I can point you in the right direction how to get over a hump
I
you're
think
currently stuck on.
for the most part, once I get over the Majima bump, I should be okay. Because it is at its core, it's just a numbers game, really. There's not a whole lot of complexity really to it.
Way over there. How did you get?
Smelly portation.
All right. Anything else, or should we look at wrapping up?
I think that about covers it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait for Ari to have mastered the art of the head pat, so he can give us his report on that.
Van
Must do it correctly.
Van is much more tactful with his head pats and dispenses like 2 of them throughout the previous 2 games.
Sooner or later, you'll get the opportunity to see Reen head patting people because he's in the game and he can't help himself.
He is in the game. So far, he's only made a cameo. It's literally just been a Daybreak game so far in Chapter 1, but I'm not very far. I've just done the prologue. I'm still in.
All right. In that case, we should start wrapping up.
We will as soon as we make these things dead.
Pat the head or beat the things up. Okay.
This has
Yeah,
been.
I don't remember where I'm up to.
This has been Chia Pet and Cartwheel's Arrow Adventures. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Hopefully Fern can join us. We will see. So, we'll see you then. Sayonara. Bye-bye.